Chapter 623. All the blood in her body was flowing backward. The words, I love you too, released all the beasts in her heart roaring and rushing out of her body. Yi Er covered her mouth, not letting Jianghu kiss her again. She closed her eyes tightly, her other hand clutching the bedsheets under her. When she clutched them, all her joints turned green and white, as if she was going to crush the cotton bedsheets into powder. Her crying was suppressed and sorrowful, her body trembling like the autumn wind sweeping the leaves. Jianghu bent over and hugged her, his forehead resting on her head. Seeing her cry like this, his heart ached unbearably. He didn't know how much sour liquid was poured into his heart, oppressing him heavily. Yinyi, I love you too. Forgive me. Yi Er wanted to cry loudly, very loudly, but her father was downstairs. She felt that her life was so oppressive. This man told her at this time that he loved her. He said that he loved her too. Suddenly she pushed Jianghu away, jumped off the bed, rushed to the door and quickly turned the doorknob. Jianghu also jumped off the bed and rushed over, but Yi Er had already rushed out of the door. In the family Ouyang's old mansion, the servants were trembling in fear, not daring to sleep. The main building's lights were all on. Ouyang Yin lay on the bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. She still didn't get up to put on her clothes, her body wrapped in the blanket. The family doctor was treating the wounds on her face. Her face was so swollen that it couldn't be seen clearly. Her cheeks had turned purplish red, and when swollen they looked bloody, forming a sharp contrast with her snow-white forehead. If a photo was taken and cut from the middle, no one would think that it was the same part of the face. Ouyang Xing stood at the side, like an ice sculpture, exuding a cold and terrifying aura. Grandpa. Ouyang Yin called softly. Yun, after you're done, have a good sleep. Grandpa, I feel terrible. Jianghu just held my hand and asked Yunyi to hit me. I feel terrible. At this time her unwillingness had disappeared and was replaced by hatred. She thought that after today Jianghu would not be able to deny it even if he wanted to. Didn't the rich and powerful care about their reputation? Moreover, Jianghu's status was so different. The things he reported last time had already caused such a ruckus. If the fact that they had slept together was exposed, Jianghu wouldn't be able to clear his name even if he had a mouth. In any case, she wanted him. If she wanted him, she didn't care what methods she had to use. She had thought that Yunyi would come looking for her. She couldn't wait for more. Last time in the northern part of the city, Yunyi did not dare to offend her at all. However, she did not expect that she would rush out today to make a scene. She also did not expect that Jianghu would not help her at all. When Yunyi hit her, Jianghu only sat at the end of the bed and silently put on his clothes and pants. It was as if there was a silent movie in the room. He did not even stop her. This made her hate him too much. Ouyang Xing thought about the scene that night and trembled in fear. Jianghu and Qin Fian were not good people. At that time, if Qin Fian had not hugged him tightly outside the door, he would have entered the room long ago. Jianghu, that bastard. Yunyi, that little bastard, dared to hit his granddaughter. He would teach her a lesson. Yun, have a good rest. You don't have to go to work tomorrow. I will help you inform the hospital. Ouyang Xing stood there and did not reach out to comfort her. He could not bear to look at her at all. He clenched his fists tightly. This was his most beloved granddaughter. When she was born, she weighed less than 4 kilograms. Even the doctor said that she could not be carried, but he insisted on keeping her. She had been with him since birth. He was the one who raised her single-handedly. Seeing this granddaughter of his grow up gave him an indescribable sense of accomplishment. The family Ouyang's assets could all be given to his grandson, but love? Grandpa, I can't accept this. Grandpa knows. Qin Fian left 9th Mansion but did not return to his own residence. Instead he called Shin Kai. In the middle of the night, Shin Kai's personal phone was turned off. However, his work phone could not be turned off. Qin Fian dialed Shin Kai's work number. He waited for the other side to ring for a while before picking up. Shin Kai's voice sounded very awake. Qin Fian knew that this was work training. No matter how sleepy he was, even if his eyes were not open, his work number's ringtone would ring. A professional would pick up the phone and calmly, politely and clearly say, "Hello, who is this? Shin Kai, are you still in a relationship with a beauty?" Shin Kai listened to such teasing and took the phone away from his ear. He rubbed his eyes and looked at the name saved. He closed his eyes again and pressed the phone to his ear. He jokingly said, "Young Master Qin, who are you with this time?" Fei Yan's car drove towards the south. I have long heard that young Master Shin is unrestrained and unrestrained. His looks are better than Panin. This one's heart is itching unbearably. I really want to spend a night with young Master Shin. Are you interested? A chance encounter is better than an invitation. Why don't we come out for a drink? Shin Kai frowned. At this time? He sat up from the bed and rubbed his temples to wake himself up quickly. He lifted the quilt and got off the bed. Young Master Qin, I'm very expensive. Fei Yin looked at the road sign in front of him and remembered Shin Kai's residence. He smiled and said, Young Master Shin, name a price. Someone I like, do you think I can't afford it? Shin Kai tilted his head and put on his clothes while talking nonsense with Qin Fian. I also like luxury cars and mansions. Fei Yin laughed out loud. As long as you like it, I'll give it to you. Shin Kai walked into the bathroom and turned on the tap. He reached out and took a handful of water. He splashed it on his face and rubbed it. This time he was completely awake. He looked at himself in the mirror and tidied his hair. He smiled mischievously. And beauties, I also like them very much. Hurry up, I'm at the entrance of your neighborhood. Dress prettily. This young master won't shortchange you. Shin Kai took a coat and walked out of the bedroom. He changed his shoes at the entrance of the living room. Do you still need to ask? He changed his tone and asked very seriously. Are you at South Gate or North Gate? North Gate. Do you want me to drive the car in? Fei Yin took out a pair of spectacles from the front of the passenger seat and put it on. No need. It's too troublesome to register. Later you'll have to call my door to inquire. Too annoying. I'm hanging up. He hung up the phone and put on the coat. He put the phone in his pocket and went out. Shin Kai got into Qin Fian's car and fastened his seat belt. Where's the money? Money, house, car, beauties, I won't leave you out. Qin Fian smiled evilly. He started the car and leisurely said, I'm afraid you'll go back on your word. Do you want to write a written agreement? Qin Fian raised his phoenix eyes and glanced at Shin Kai, who was sitting in the passenger seat. He smiled and said, and then I'll take the written agreement and report you to the prosecutor's office? Shin Kai let out a long sigh and slapped his thigh. He said angrily, see, profiteer. You set me up again. Qin Fian smiled. Today he came to find Shin Kai for the word, set me up. Brother Kaizi. Shin Kai was the same age as Jiang Zhao and older than Qin Fian. In terms of age, it wasn't a big deal to call him that. But Shin Kai narrowed his eyes and glanced at Qin Fian, who was driving. He raised his hand and put it in gear. Don't. He put his hand down and looked forward. You can still call me young Master Shin. Shin Kai, Xuanhuan, Kaizi, all are fine. Don't add brother at the back. If you call me brother, nothing good will come out of it. Shin Kai understood the rules between the young masters of wealthy families very well. He knew that Qin Fian was looking for him for something today. Otherwise he wouldn't have called him so late at night to chat. Between the young masters of wealthy families in Haiqing, unless they were really related by blood, they wouldn't call him brother, if they were only a few years older than him. Once they called him brother, it must be something difficult. But why would Qin Fian look for him? Qin Fian drove the car to Qin Palace. Fine Kaizi, I'm too lazy to call you brother. I still want to act mature. Hey, you're such a beautiful woman. Don't be mature. You're more attractive when you're younger. Qin Fian laughed shamelessly. Ah, as long as you like it. In Xia Qian's words, Qin Palace was the most expensive and high-end place to take a bath in Haiqing. Xia Qian's dream was to go to Qin Palace to take a bath when she had money. But Qin Palace wasn't just a place to take a bath. It had food and entertainment. Using Jiang Zhao's words, Shin Kai was just a loafer after taking off his uniform. He was just a loafer that was so handsome that it was bubbling. The car stopped outside the hotel. Shin Kai acted like he had never seen the world. Yo, young Master Qin, everyone knows that the best place in Qin Palace is to take a bath. There's only one hot spring in Haiqing and it's all occupied by you. So you're not taking me to the hot spring but to a hotel room? Isn't it better to warm up in the hot spring in a hotel room? Qin Fian turned off the engine. In fact, Shin Kai had always found it interesting. Qin Fian was a well-known homosexual in Haiqing, but the rich young masters were not afraid of being involved with him. They were also not afraid of being misunderstood. They put their arms around each other's shoulders, and some even deliberately went up to him, saying that they wanted to flirt with him. Qin Fian didn't care if they were mocking or teasing him. He didn't reject them all and just played along. Ah, look at how anxious you are. The CEO elevator went straight to the top floor of Qin Palace Hotel. Qin Fian sometimes stayed here. After opening the door, he flipped on all the lights. Then he asked Shin Kai whether he liked Chinese or Western food. He walked to the telephone and dialed the internal line, asking the kitchen to prepare some supper. The top floor was decorated according to the standard of a presidential suite. In Qin Fian's words, he had to experience the service here often to know how to improve it. In this regard, he was different from Jiang Rui, the eldest brother of the Jiang family. Jiang Rui also had the business of many five-star hotel chains in the country, but in his own hotel, he only had a luxury suite for himself to stay in occasionally. After the waiter left, Qin Fian invited Shen Kai to sit down at the table. Shen Kai looked at the high-end Chinese food on the table. "Tell me, what's the purpose of this feast at Hongmen?" Qin Fian personally poured wine for Shen Kai. The red wine in the decanter smelled fishy. It was red blood, and the blood on the wall was light as if it was washed with water. Feeling a little hungry, he ordered a steak for himself and drank some red wine. His movements were powerful and elegant as he smiled. Kaizi, that last Xin Xian came to the Qin Palace to take a bath that day with a male celebrity. A guest saw them and took a photo. It was a photo of the two of them kissing. Not only were they kissing, but they were also pinching, hugging, and rubbing. At that time, I was worried that the photo was too intimate, so I kindly took the camera down. Took a lot of effort. Attention Songshu 566. Chapter 624. Haha. Shin Kai suddenly laughed. His voice reverberated through the luxuriously decorated room. "Young Master Qin, you're simply a beast, haha. Don't talk nonsense. I have a reputation." A small square piece of steak had already been fixed on the shiny steel fork. With another devilish smile, he elegantly opened his mouth and placed the steak into his mouth, chewing slowly. Yes. Your reputation is becoming more and more of a beast." Shin Kai's face was smiling, but there was not much of a smile in his eyes. Who knew if that photo was a guest or someone else? Xin Xian, that girl is becoming more and more immature. Qin Fian clearly had nothing to do with the matter, but he still pretended to care about it, as if it was a family matter. Young people are free to love. You're also a big brother, can't you be more relaxed? Why don't I introduce a few male celebrities to your Feiyu as backup? A grown girl can't be kept at home. She's going to be married off anyway. Ah. Shen Kai looked at Qin Fian's phoenix eyes softly. At least he had one around. These rich and powerful families, who would want to be associated with those in the entertainment industry? Not to mention that the male celebrity Xin Xian was fooling around with was a rotten person. He had scandals with many rich women. How could the Xin family let Xin Xian be involved in those scandals? Feiyu is still young. You don't have to worry about her. My grandfather has already found a good family for her. Which family? Secret ha. Qin Fian was purely talking nonsense. How old was Feiyu? Even if she wanted to be engaged, she would have to graduate from high school. Of course, he knew that Shin Kai was only asking this to pass the time. In the process of asking, he must be weighing the pros and cons. Shin Kai was not in the mood to joke at this time. Fian, tell me. What do you want for the Xian girls' photos to be given to me? What do you want in exchange? Qin Fian knew Shin Kai's personality. He must have already thought about it in his heart to directly state the conditions. If he was willing to state the conditions, it meant that this matter was indeed a taboo for the Shin family. Conditions in exchange? Yes. He wanted a deal. Before he was sure that Shin Kai would care about those photos, he would not mention anything else. Qin Fian felt that his intuition was very accurate. Although Ouyang Yen was a lady and would never do anything out of line, she was a calm woman. Yi Er had vented his anger today, and it was hard to say whether he would be retaliated against in the future. The most he could do to retaliate against Yi Er was to put Yun Hongwei in jail again, but the one who would be implicated would be Jiang Zhao. Yeah. Ouyang Yen is your subordinate now. Qin Fian used to call Ouyang Yen elder sister Yen. However, after today's matter, he could not bring himself to call her elder sister Yen. No matter what, he was on his brother's side. Jiang Zhao's attitude was very obvious. He had been set up, and this trap was definitely set by Ouyang Yen. He could not help but be on guard. After all, Jiang Zhao was now in a terrible fix dealing with Yi Er. He could not persuade a married couple, but he had to help trim the branches at the side. And this is not a secret. Shin Kai sat lazily in his seat, half of his back supporting the back of the chair. His feet were on his legs, and he was holding a wine glass with a big belly in his hand, turning it clockwise. From time to time, the seat of the glass would rub against the table, making a slight sound. It could be said that Miss had basically played with these rich young masters in High City since they were young. Even if she did not know everything, she could still see some things on the surface. For example, Qin Fian had always called Ouyang Yen elder sister Yen. Ouyang Yen had been very beautiful, ladylike, and calm since she was young. She could command a bunch of brats to do anything for her. Qin Fian did not want to do anything, so he only cared about sweet talk and called her elder sister Yen happily. What happened to her? Shin Kai asked based on his intuition. You know that she likes my brother, right? I know. Shin Kai shrugged. His eyes were calm and his tone was unperturbed. Everyone who had studied at high university, at least those who were close to him, knew. It was natural. Qin Fian's movements were still neither fast nor slow as he cut the steak. I'm not afraid to tell you this now. Now she wants my brother to divorce my sister-in-law. This matter is getting bigger and bigger. Yunhongwei's matter is not a secret. Last time, someone from the Inspection Institute reported Yunhongwei's matter, and I more or less heard some rumors. Today my sister-in-law has offended Ouyang Yen, and I'm worried that she will take revenge on this matter. I know this. All the men in the world are dead and she wants to hang herself on Jianghu. Ha. When Shin Kai said this, he was not at all jealous. He was just narrating it as a joke. Don't worry about this. I'll transfer her to be in charge of ordinary cases. I won't let her touch anything related to Yunhongwei, okay? After Qin Fian chewed the steak in his mouth, he drank a mouthful of the sweet, fishy liquid and made a tisk sound. Kaizi, this matter is not just like that. I think Fourth Master may want to intervene. I know that there are many secrets in the Inspection Institute that even my brother doesn't know. In fact, I just want to ask you and get to the bottom of it. You know all the clues related to Yunhongwei's case. I think it will more or less affect my brother's investigation, but I'm not in politics, so I'm afraid it will be much easier to deal with it. Young Master Qin, you have a big appetite. I didn't give your brother any information, but you want to know about a few photos. This isn't a good deal. At that time he had also gone to Jiang Zhao's place to look for Jiang Zhao. It was very simple. The Shin family had something to discuss, and he needed Jiang Zhao's help. He was just using Yunhongwei's case to do him a favor. Moreover, at that time he felt that it was best if Ouyang Yen did not get involved. With Jiang Zhao's help, Ouyang Yen would not be too out of line. Now that he thought about it, Jiang Zhao was not interested in Ouyang Yen anymore. Otherwise, what was the meaning of this when his younger brother came out to stop him? The matter between Xin Xian and that male celebrity was indeed inconvenient to be reported in the newspapers. Yunhongwei's bottom line had nothing to do with the Shin family, and it was impossible for Jiang Zhao not to have any news at all. Otherwise, Qin Tong would not have been in such a situation recently. Jiang Zhao would sooner or later get to the bottom of it. This was actually another favor that came at no cost. Qin Fian put down the fork in his hand and reached out to push the glasses on the bridge of his nose. He smiled very kindly, and said, because my brother doesn't even have a few photos. How can this not be a good deal? When Jiang Zhao saw Yi Er run out, he regretted taking off his clothes just now. He put on his pants, picked up a cashmere coat, put it on, and chased after Yi Er. When Yi Er went out, Yunhongwei had already heard the sound of the door closing. When Jiang Zhao ran downstairs, Yunhongwei had already walked into the living room and asked, Jiang Zhao, what's wrong? Dad, Yi Er wants to eat supper. I told her not to eat it this time. I didn't know that she was really hungry. Now that she's angry with me, I'll take her to eat. You sleep first. Jiang Zhao looked very anxious as he hurriedly put on his shoes. Yunhongwei knew that when the two of them came in, they were still hugging and kissing. At this time, the two of them were probably quarreling again. If Jiang Zhao didn't treat Yi Er well, he probably wouldn't coax her at all and would just let them be. Jiang Zhao, don't spoil Yi Er too much. You'll spoil her too much. Dad, it's okay. I'm going. You sleep. After saying this, she had already run out of the door. When Yi Er went out, she grabbed the car keys. When Jiang Zhao saw that one of the car keys in the door cabinet was missing, he knew immediately. Jiang Zhao's elevator didn't go to the underground parking lot. Instead, it went to the first floor and then rushed to the exit of the parking lot. He waited there to block Yi Er. If he went to the underground parking lot, he definitely wouldn't be able to catch up with her. When he came out of the parking lot, he had to swipe his card. It would take some time, and it would take him some time to get dressed. Yi Er kept biting her lip as she ran to the parking lot. She pressed the lock, pulled the door open, and sat in the car. After she got in, she leaned over the steering wheel and wailed loudly. Her voice was so loud that it sounded terrifying to her own ears. At this time, there were no cars in the underground parking lot. It was so quiet that no sound could be heard clearly. At this time, a woman's cry came out of the parking pants. No matter how good the soundproof glass was, one could still hear the grief in the sobbing. In this enclosed space, she didn't have to worry about her father being sad when he heard her cry. She could cry out all the frustrations and pain in her heart. She let them flow out with her tears until she cried dry. She really wanted to cry all those things dry. Fate was playing with her. After she suffered all kinds of grievances, it told her that everything was a joke. This joke wasn't made at the right time. If it was a little earlier, even if it was just a few hours earlier, she would have become the happiest woman in the world. No one would be happier than her. Because she had received the love of the man she wanted, she would have gone crazy with joy instead of going crazy with pain like she was now. But who would save her at this time? It wasn't that she wanted to pretend to be aloof, it wasn't that she wanted to put on airs. Even in her dreams she wanted him to say to her, "Yunyi, I love you too." But it wasn't at this time. Wasn't it when he had just climbed out of bed with the Ouyang and told her that he had nothing to do with the Ouyang and that they had nothing to do with each other a long time ago? Did he think she was a pig? She had seen it with her own eyes. But in order to not get a divorce, he had said that he had nothing to do with the Ouyang. She had always thought that he was a responsible man, but now he was trying to shirk his responsibilities. The moment she closed her eyes, she would see two bodies hugging each other as they slept. She could still think of more. Before she fell asleep, all the details were as real as if she had seen it with her own eyes. This feeling was like a knife stabbing her with all its might. It was too life-threatening. Jianghu stood at the entrance of the parking lot. He wasn't wearing any underwear or a sweater, only a cashmere coat. At this time he felt a little empty. The weather was very cold at this time. When the cold wind blew, it directly entered his body through his sleeves. It was very bone-chilling. As he expected, the sound of tires peeling on the speed bump came from the ground. He heard the beep of the card being swiped, and the sound of the tires peeling on the speed bump continued. He could hear his car and the sound of the engine. Pierre was driving in a hurry, so he opened his arms and closed his eyes. Suddenly, the headlights of the car shone over. Although Jianghu's eyes were closed, he could feel the piercing pain of the strong light. Pierre pressed the horn, but Jianghu still didn't open his eyes. Even if she wanted to kill him today, he wouldn't let her run out like this. Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 625. The wheels on the anti-skid belt sped up quickly, then came to a stop with a screech of the brakes. His grip on the steering wheel was so tight that the veins on his hands could be seen clearly. Jianghu stood in the same spot, one hand still raised, the other hand in his pocket, feeling for the spare car keys in his pocket. He shouted at Pierre, "Yunyi, get out." Pierre was unmoved. She put the car in neutral and stepped on the accelerator. She wanted the other party to hear her anger and yell and immediately give in. Jianghu took a step forward, then another step and another step. Pierre's palms were sweaty. Her car's headlights were on, and the white light illuminated the fine dust. She could clearly see the expression on the man's handsome face. The steps he took with his slender legs were very heavy. When he spread his long arms, his palms trembled slightly. When he breathed, clouds of white fog condensed, dispersed, and turned into smoke, leaving no trace. She could clearly see the pain in the man's eyes. It was so clear and she had never seen it before. She didn't know why she could see so many of his emotions in just one night. She had looked into his eyes before, but she couldn't tell. His eyes were too deep, too messy, and never so clear. At that time, his eyes were like the chaos of prehistoric times. A gaze used another language to confuse others. She often saw mirages in his eyes, a sky full of stars, forests, and fog. She had never seen pain. She had always thought that she was the only one who was in pain, and he had never seen her pain. It turned out that he could feel pain too. Because of love? She had never thought that love was sacred and no one belonged to anyone. Wasn't there a popular saying now? What husband? Weren't they all temporary workers? Nowadays, marriage today and divorce tomorrow happened every day. Marriage took 7 years of dating, divorce took a month to get along. Remarriage, and remarriage were like buying vegetables at the market. Husband and wife were birds in the same forest, but when disaster struck, they flew away separately, just like her parents. When I love you, I love you. When I don't love you, I forget that I once loved you. It was so simple. She didn't believe that her mother had never fallen in love with her father. She didn't believe that when she was in love, her mother felt that all the stones given by her father were diamonds. When she wasn't in love, even the stars in the sky were just stones by the roadside. Love was something that could never be sacred or long-lasting. Therefore, she believed in responsibility and helping each other in times of need. Although she was not yet 20 years old, she still believed that a husband and wife should be together forever. That was the promise given by God. Jianghu was a god in her heart. Today, the god in her heart had stepped down from the altar. He no longer protected her from the wind and rain, and gave her happiness. How could such a filthy person be a god? She didn't mind that he was sinister. She knew that he wasn't honest and wasn't great. It didn't matter. Not to mention that he wasn't a corrupt official. Even if he was, she was willing to be in a difficult position with him. She was willing to take advantage of the people with him. However, there was a type of person who had this kind of charm. He was not a good person. He was after benefits, but he had his position and his job. If he wanted something, he did not need to take advantage of the common people. His methods were not like those brainless people who accepted bribes. He had plenty of ways to earn a lot of money. Jianghu walked towards the car. He saw that the front wheel of the car was starting to turn to the left. He was facing her, and his right hand was in his pocket. He guessed that she would definitely want to start the car and drive past him. Therefore he started to move to the right. Ye rolled down the car window and stuck her head out. "Get out of my way. Where do you want to go? It's none of your business. I want to care. You don't have the right." "I do." When Jianghu walked to the front of the car, he felt for the second button of the car key. He ran with his long legs, and when he felt for the car door, he pressed the remote control. The car door opened with a soft thud. He opened the car door and quickly got in. Ye was stunned. Jianghu had already grabbed her hand that was holding the steering wheel. "Yinyi, let's go back." "No." "Okay, where are you going?" "Bring me along." There was no air conditioning in the car, and Ye was not wearing a jacket. Jianghu turned on the air conditioning, and there was a low humming sound in the car. Ye tried to hit Jianghu's hand, but Jianghu suddenly shifted the car to D gear. "Step on the accelerator." Ye listened to Jianghu's words as if she was possessed. She stepped on the accelerator and the car rushed out of the exit. After they left the neighborhood, they took a detour and got on the highway viaduct. There were no cars. Occasionally there would be a car that would whiz past like a rocket. There was the earth-shattering sound of the exhaust pipes. "Jianghu, I want to divorce you." "I won't divorce you." The Qin family's old residence's landline rang. The helper was still yawning and her eyes were closed. However, her feet were skillfully and accurately avoiding all obstacles. She was afraid that she would disturb the owner of the building, so she quickly picked up the phone. "Hello, Qin family. Wake Qin Rongfang up. I'm Ouyang Sheng." Ouyang Sheng's voice on the phone was like popcorn. When the helper heard this, she felt that it was a taboo to call the old master by his name. She immediately felt that this was no small matter. "Fourth master, the old master is already asleep. Can you wait until he gets up at 5:30 for his morning exercise? Tell him to get up. Otherwise, he'll regret it tomorrow morning." Ouyang Sheng's aura was too strong. The helper knew that something was wrong and hurriedly said, "Fourth master, wait a moment. I'll get the old lady to inform the old master immediately." "Hurry up. What are you waiting for?" The courtyard of a row of high-ranking officials in Wujin Lane in Jiang district was as quiet as a grave at night. When the Jiang family's old residence's landline rang, old Master Jiang and the old lady had already settled down to sleep. Auntie Lu knocked on the door of the two elders' room. People in their old age often slept very little, and it was easy for them to be awakened by the sound of movement. The old lady shouted, "Come in." Auntie Lu was still wearing the family's military coat. She hadn't had time to fix her hair before she hurriedly pushed the door open and entered. The place where the elderly slept was always lit with a faint light. She was afraid that they would accidentally fall when they woke up in the middle of the night. After all, they weren't young people and falling was no small matter. Seeing that it was the old lady who woke up, she lowered her head and raised her hand to whisper into the old lady's ear, "Zhao Zhao is in big trouble in Haiqing." The old man was shocked. He opened his eyes and was about to sit up. The old lady reached out and pressed on his shoulder. "Sit up slowly. Blood will rush to your head and you'll faint. Something has happened in Haiqing. Don't get sick and cause trouble for the children at this critical juncture." Okay. You'll be fine." The old man raised his hand and pressed it on the back of the old lady's hand. "I got it." Auntie Lu helped the old lady sit up first. She took a thick coat that she wore during the day and draped it over her. Then, she went to the other side of the bed and helped the old man sit up. The old man took the coat from Auntie Lu's hand and stretched his body to drape it over himself. "What's going on?" The Qin family called. They said that something happened to Zhao Zhao and asked the old man to answer the phone personally. "I said to call you, but you have to wait because it's a little slow to wake up." "There's no hurry." The old man glared at Auntie Lu, lifted the blanket and got out of bed. "There's no hurry. I thought they'd sent you to tell me about it. Why are you not in a hurry?" He snorted and took off his slippers. He reached out and turned on all the lights on the bedside table. Instantly the room was bright. The old lady also lifted the blanket and got out of bed. "Xiao Lu, it's not your fault. Go to bed early. I'll wait for you to answer the phone before I sleep, Auntie Lu said quietly. She was used to the old man's temper, so she didn't think much of it. She was just nervous. No matter how nervous she was afraid that the two old men would be too anxious and dizzy. Go and hang up the phone in the living room. I'll turn on my phone and call them. The old man walked to the desk, picked up the old man's phone that had been turned off and turned it on. I'll go now, Auntie Lu answered and left the room. The old man held the phone away from his eyes and stared at the words on the screen. He looked for the names in the phone book one by one. He dialed. He walked to the window and raised his long arm to open the curtains. With one hand on his waist and the other holding the phone, he straightened his back and looked at the hazy moon outside the window. Almost all the men in the Jiang family had such a back view. It was a majestic and tall back view. It was inherited from old Master Jiang. Soldiers always had such an aura. Without saying anything, they made people submit. Old Qin, old Master Jiang called out calmly. He didn't sound like the usual old fart. After the photo scandal last time, the Qin family didn't call the Jiang family. This time it was in the middle of the night. Old Master Jiang didn't want to make a big fuss out of anger. He wanted to figure out what was going on as soon as possible. Old Jiang, I'm afraid you'll have to come over this time. He went straight to the point. What happened to Zhao Zhao? He was straightforward. He asked the reason. I'm afraid Zhao Zhao is going to get a divorce this time. Divorce? Old Master Jiang repeated in a doubtful voice. When the old lady heard this, she hurriedly walked over with her small walking stick and said softly, "Use the speakerphone." The old man held the phone further away. When he saw the speakerphone button, he pressed it. Qin Rongfang's voice on the phone was also regretful. You know about the family Ouyang? The old man frowned. Hasn't it been so many years? When Zhao Zhao was about to get married last time, I was wondering why that girl came back. What's going on? Tonight, Zhao Zhao slept in little Yan's bed. Just a while ago, Ouyang Xing called and flipped out. The old man's chest rose. Bastard. He's still fooling around outside after getting married. Didn't you settle it last time? How many days has that scandal been spreading? Old Jiang. This matter has already happened. What do you think we should do? What should we do? Zhao Zhao slept in his ex-girlfriend's bed, and you're asking me what to do? There's more. What else? Can't you just say it all in one breath? The old man couldn't control his anger. The old lady held her small walking stick in her hand and stomped it on the wooden floor. The old man's voice was a little softer. Finish it in one go. Granddaughter-in-law made a scene at the door and beat up that girl from the family Ouyang. She beat her up so badly that she can't go to work tomorrow morning. Ouyang Xing said that he specially asked the driver to send Zhao Zhao home. In the end, after he fell asleep, Zhao Zhao went back to the family Ouyang. Old Jiang, what do you think is going on? What's going on? What did Ouyang Xing say? The old lady interjected. She seemed to be much more sober than the two men. Ouyang Xing. He said that his granddaughter can't go out and meet people in the future. He wants Zhao Zhao to divorce and marry his granddaughter. Qin Rongfang couldn't find anyone to come up with an idea at this time and was very anxious. When the newspaper came out a few days ago, it could be said that it was a scandal. Now that he slept in someone else's bed, how could it be called a scandal? Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 626. T. Old Madame Jiang was not a person who would swear. When she was young, she was a scout and had some culture. Even if old Master Jiang was a soldier and was a little rough, she would not swear. At this time, when the word T came out of her mouth, old Master Jiang quickly stretched out his arm and put it around her shoulder, afraid that she would explode in anger. I'll make this clear. Let's not talk about the fact that Zhao Zhao is married now. Even if Zhao Zhao isn't married now, our Jiang family doesn't want the daughter of the Ouyang family. Old Madame Jiang was thin. At this time, she had shrunk a little and was just under old Master Jiang's arm. However, her words were crisp and clear and she seemed to have a lot of weight. Hey sister, don't be so angry. Qin Rongfang persuaded. Now that there are photos, I thought that this matter was not so simple. Zhao Zhao is a person who knows his limits. I'm afraid that this time he will fall into the hands of Ouyang Xing. That old thing is like a 1,000-year-old fox. I'm afraid that he will not fight a battle that he is not confident of winning. When old Madame Jiang heard this, she was so angry that she poked the wooden floor a few times with the small walking stick in her hand. Her crisp words were very loud. This is even more impossible. The photos are already taken. Zhao Zhao is being threatened. What's so great about family Ouyang? Back then they were the ones who said that they would not be engaged. Now they are also the ones who want Zhao Zhao to divorce. What kind of immoral things are they letting their family do? I don't care. As long as I'm not dead, I won't let family Ouyang marry into our family. Our Jiang family does not need those noble and virtuous girls to put up a front. Our Jiang family's men are all very capable. It's the same no matter who he marries. Tell family Ouyang to give up. Many years ago, it was old Master Jiang who went to Haiqing to make peace with family Ouyang and help Jiang Zhao talk about marriage. Old Madame Jiang did not like to take the plane, and she felt that the train ride was too long, so she did not go. Before leaving, she reminded him repeatedly that he must control his temper when he went there. Family Ouyang's daughter was good-looking and good-natured. She did not cause trouble and would be the best as Zhao Zhao's wife. Old Master Jiang also went there full of confidence. Who knew that he would come back dejected? The old madam could not take this lying down no matter what. It was fine if her grandson's conditions were not good, but with his looks, figure, family background and ability, who wouldn't think that he was good? Family Ouyang, sister. Qin Rongfang could still scold old Master Jiang, but he really couldn't scold old Madame Jiang, nor could he afford to offend her. I know what you said. You're uncomfortable and so are we. But Ouyangxing's words are very obvious now. If we don't divorce, he will take the initiative to clarify this matter. I'm afraid that Zhao Zhao's future will be ruined. You know the background of our two families. Zhao Zhao is now at the peak of his career. If he is crippled at this time, I think we can put aside the interests of our two families. But for Zhao Zhao, have you thought about how big a blow this will be? Which man can accept his career being damaged at this time? Old Madame Jiang was stunned and did not dare to say anything else. Old Master Jiang heard that old Madame Jiang had stopped talking, so he said, Old Qin, I'll ask the guard to book a ticket for me at dawn. I'll go too, old Madame Jiang said lightly. Don't go. You're afraid of taking the plane. The train is slow. Take the plane. I'll go. Don't stop me. If you stop me, I'll walk. When old Madame Jiang's temper flared up, no one could stop her. She poked her small walking stick and turned around to walk to the bed. Old Master Jiang said to Qin Rongfang, Rongfang, you have to appease Zhao Zhao. Also, you have to appease my granddaughter-in-law. That girl who hit the family Ouyangxing, that old thing, is ruthless. Old Madame Jiang was about to lean her walking stick against the bedside table. When she heard this, she immediately turned around to look at old Master Jiang and said angrily, Well done. She deserved it. I said that girl was right. She can't even deal with a wild woman who slept with her own man. How can she be the daughter-in-law of the Jiang family? In the snow garden of Jiang district, there was an old house with a fence. Tall rows of trees blocked all the scenery outside the fence. This was the largest and most low-key wealthy family in Jiang district. At night, the metasequoia trees stood tall in the snow garden. The road was peaceful, and there would be faint street lights on the pond, reflecting the wrinkled water ripples caused by the wind. The villa fell asleep quietly. In the Hawaiian-style villa, Jiang Rui lifted the quilt and got out of bed. Xuanhuan asked softly, What's wrong? Sleep with your son. There's a call from the old house. I'll go out to answer it. Jiang Rui was afraid that old Master Jiang would wait for too long, so he quickly left the room. He opened the door of the floor-to-ceiling window in the living room and walked to the glass fence to answer the call. Grandpa, it's so late. What happened? The man's handsome face shone in the huge snow garden. His tall and straight body was only wearing thin pajamas. In the winter night he didn't feel cold at all. Instead he looked strong and healthy. Rui, I've booked a flight to High City with your grandma tomorrow morning. Something happened to Zhao Zhao. I won't go over to pick up Mian Mian and bring him to the old house tomorrow. What happened to Jiang Zhao? Jiang Rui pursed his thin lips, and his facial features instantly became firm. Tonight he was caught in bed by his wife. This matter is quite serious. First it's that girl from the family Ouyang. Now it's Ouyangxing who wants to divorce Zhao Zhao. I'm worried that Zhao Zhao's career will be affected, so I have to go over and take a look. The woman behind him came out with a robe. When Jiang Rui heard the noise, he turned around and saw Xianhuan stepping over the sliding door of the floor-to-ceiling window. He was afraid that his grandpa's voice was too loud and felt awkward. Xianhuan, go to sleep. Don't worry about me. He reached out to take the robe from the woman and put it on in front of her. Then he patted her back. Go quickly. If Mian Mian doesn't manage to touch you, he'll cause trouble again. Old Master Jiang quickly said, Let Xianhuan take care of Mian Mian. Xianhuan smiled and nodded. Jiang Rui saw Xianhuan enter the house and said to Old Master Jiang, Grandma doesn't like to take the plane, right? She doesn't like the air pressure. She insists on going. I can't stop her. She's very anxious. How about this? I'll arrange a private jet. You don't need to book a ticket. You're already so old and you should take grandma to enjoy it. I usually let you use it, but you don't think it's worth it. You don't have to worry, but don't make grandma suffer. When Jianghu spoke, he smiled mischievously. It didn't seem like he was talking about a matter of life and death. No. I just want to book a ticket. I know you're rich. Even if you're rich, you shouldn't do this. I'll reimburse you if you book a flight. Just the fuel for one trip is enough for me to take so many flights. Grandpa, there's still grandma. Also, I'll go with you. No matter if I'm going to divorce or not, I have to ask Jiang Zhao's attitude first. Old Master Jiang was also anxious at this time, so he gave in. Alright, if you go, I also feel that it's better. You know Zhao Zhao's character better than I do. Yi Er's car had already reached the riverside. He stepped on the brakes and turned to look at Jiang Zhao, who was still fuming. She knew from his expression that his chest must be heaving up and down violently. He was very angry. What was there for him to be angry about? He actually pretended to be angrier than her. Was he used to being a male chauvinist? Jiang Zhao, you said that we're not getting a divorce. Why are you not getting a divorce? Because I'm your husband. You won't be after we get a divorce. I'm not getting a divorce. Jiang Zhao denied firmly every time. Jiang Zhao. Slumped over the steering wheel, paralyzed. She rested her forehead on the steering wheel and looked at her legs. Her voice suddenly dropped. Jiang Zhao, if we don't get a divorce, we won't be able to live on. Do you understand? If you forgive me, we'll be able to live on. Jiang Zhao reached out and placed his hand on the back of Yi Er's neck. You're not a thing. You're not a thing. You did such a thing and you actually want me to forgive you? Yi Er raised her head and pushed Jiang Zhao's hand away from the back of her neck. She felt that her image in front of Jiang Zhao had been completely overturned tonight. She had completely lost her image. All the results that she had worked so hard to achieve were all gone. She couldn't help but destroy the obedience that she had practiced day and night. She really couldn't help but feel sad. In the past, before she saw it with her own eyes, Ouyang Yen could make her break down with just a phone call and a few words. She was already crazy enough. She had endured it for so long. Today she caught him in bed and finally couldn't take it anymore. Yet he still had the nerve to ask her to forgive him? How could she forgive him? Who could forgive him? She didn't know. She didn't have any experience. She only knew that she couldn't take it, couldn't accept it, couldn't face such a reality. She hated herself for asking for it. She hated him even more for letting her see it with her own eyes. If he said that there was nothing between him and Ouyang Yen and that they had broken up for several years, who would believe that? Yunyi, I'm indeed not a thing. I'm not a thing. You can scold me however you like, okay? Yi Er looked at the blue sky in the distance. In the blue sky was a bed. On the bed was her man, the man she loved deeply. That man's arms were bare and he wasn't even wearing underwear under the blanket. However, this naked body wasn't with her. The woman in his arms was his ex-girlfriend. That woman was as naked as him. The two of them were snuggled together. They must be extremely tired to be able to sleep so soundly. She knew that every time they were extremely tired, they would sleep especially soundly. She saw that in the blue sky, there was a woman slapping her own face like crazy. She hated the man and woman on the bed, and hated herself even more for not being ruthless enough to kill the man and woman. She saw that in the blue sky there was a woman jumping onto the bed like crazy. She slapped the woman who slept with her man one by one. As she slapped, she cried, she slapped, she slapped, she slapped, she slapped, she slapped, and she felt despair. Yi Er, she opened her mouth and cried loudly. The saltiness of her tears hurt her face, but she didn't feel it at all. She stepped on the accelerator all the way. Jiang Zhao sat in the car without fastening his seatbelt. He looked ahead and listened to Yi Er's hysterical cries and screams. He only hoped that this was hysteria and not drastic measures. Jiang Zhao, you're shameless. You're shameless. You're already in this state and you still refuse to divorce. What are you trying to do? When did you become so shameless? Yi Er was indeed screaming and scolding hysterically. If she couldn't shout out the anger in her chest, she would die. She gritted her teeth and scolded. She wanted to scold even more harshly. My King wife is almost gone. Why do I still need my face? What do I need it for? Jiang Zhao slammed his fist on the dashboard. It was a heavy punch. The car seemed to have suddenly experienced an earthquake. Boom. A loud sound rang out. Awesome novel Xinhu 799. Chapter 627. Yunyi, you saw it today, but I don't even know how I ended up sleeping there. I got into my own car and was ready to go home. Jiang Zhao's mind was in a mess. He could only try to explain what he remembered clearly. However, he realized that no matter how he tried to explain, it was all the same. Ye nodded and mumbled, "Yes, I know. You went back and went back. So no matter what, the result is the same. You have to get a divorce." Ye lowered her head and her hair floated in front of her face. She could see how messy it was. She must look like a beggar. She didn't know where her arrogance came from. In the past, when she thought he didn't love her, she never dared to push her luck like this. But she swore to God that she didn't have any intention of doing so. She just felt that they couldn't live together anymore. If she didn't love him, then so be it. Even if he slept with other women every day, she would still be able to live on. But damn it, she loved him. This kind of life would become a kind of torture. In just a few hours, she felt like she had lost her original form. She was in so much pain that she lost her original form. Jiang Zhao felt that it was because he cared too much about his face that he ended up like this. He clearly didn't want to, but now it was confirmed that he had cheated. He was caught in bed and found the underwear under the blanket in front of everyone. No matter how he tried to explain, it would just be a quibble. No one would care about his original intentions or the process. The result was too fatal. He didn't care about that now. If she said he was a good-for-nothing, he was a good-for-nothing. If she said he was shameless, he was shameless. But divorce? Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Anyway, he was a good-for-nothing. He was shameless. Divorce? No way. Ye had always known that Jiang Zhao was domineering. It had never changed. She didn't expect him to be so domineering at a time like this. If she did such a thing, she wouldn't have the face to be like him. Jiang Zhao, fine. You have guts. If you don't divorce, I'll go sleep with other men. When the time comes, you can stand outside the door. You can listen and watch. If you can accept it, we won't leave. The car crossed the bridge on the riverside. The river was wide, and the woman's angry and reckless noise made the man's blood pressure rise. It suddenly reached the limit. "Stop the car!" Jiang Zhao roared. His fist hit the front of the car, and there was another loud bang. Ye thought to himself, isn't he afraid of crippling his hand? She stepped on the brakes and pulled the car over. She wanted him to get out of the car. She did not even want to smell his scent. The man's handsome face was covered with a layer of frost. His fists were still clenched tightly, like a hammer that was still nailed to the front desk, ready to hammer down again. His eyes were bloodshot, and from his hair to his breath, it was all anger. Was he angry? She didn't know where the feeling of vengeance came from. It was as if she could stab him with a knife. At this moment she would be very happy. It was as if she could only hurt him as badly as she did and she would be liberated. Why should she be the only one in pain? She couldn't learn to be so open-minded. She could tolerate his male chauvinism, tolerate his temper that could explode at any time, tolerate his social engagements until late at night. In the past, when she felt that he had no feelings for her, she could tolerate it, even tolerate it. But the impurity and betrayal of her body, she couldn't tolerate it. She couldn't be open-minded. She was in pain, so she wanted revenge. Yunyi, you want to take revenge on me? You want to take revenge on me, don't you? Fine, you want to take revenge on me. Then how about this? Jiang Zhao pressed down the window of the passenger seat and pointed out. It was the rippling surface of the river and the wider blue sky. I'll jump off this bridge. If I can swim ashore alive, you'll forgive me and we'll live a good life again. If I die, you can *king sleep with whoever you want. I don't care. The tendons on the man's face, forehead, and neck all popped out. He looked terrifying and ferocious. When his voice exploded, it seemed as if there were rings of extremely powerful air currents. Ye felt as if her eardrums were about to burst. She felt as if the man's eyes and pores were about to bleed. She couldn't help but tremble. When the car door opened, Ye's heart skipped a beat. By the time she understood what the man said, the door to the passenger seat had already been slammed shut with a bang. Ye opened the car door and rushed out. She grabbed onto Jiang Zhao, who had already climbed onto the railing. She hugged his waist, not daring to let go. Jiang Zhao knew that he couldn't be forgiven. Really, there was no way to forgive him. When he heard what Ye said, he knew that he had to punish himself severely. He couldn't take it. He couldn't take it just by listening to it. If she slept with another man and asked him to listen and watch, he would definitely kill someone. Then he would die with her and be done with it. He didn't dare to ask for Ye's forgiveness anymore. Even he couldn't accept the result, so what right did he have to ask for her forgiveness? Today's incident, regardless of whether or not anyone had harmed him, since he had already let her down, then it was his fault. He didn't know what reason meant at this moment. Ever since she had rushed into Ouyang room and slapped him, his reason had not successfully entered his brain. His brain was either rapidly frozen or rapidly ignited. Every time he wanted to calm down, she would suddenly shout, sob, roar, or tear. Every time he wanted to calm down, she would suddenly shout, sob, roar, or tear. Every time she said something, the reason he wanted to establish would instantly collapse. He didn't know what he had experienced in the past few months when he was with her to end up like this. Nothing earth-shattering happened, right? How did he end up like this? Yi knew Jiang Zhao's temperament. She also understood the look in his eyes before he got out of the car. He wasn't joking. If he was joking, the light in his eyes wouldn't be so resolute and ruthless. Ruthless? If he jumped into the river from this bridge, not to mention how deep the river was and how fast the current was, just the water resistance alone would be enough to smash his internal organs into pieces. If he didn't have any skill in diving, he would die instantly even if he didn't drown. Jiang Zhao, get down here. Yi dragged him forcefully, but how could she control the man's strength? No. Let's end this today. I'm not seeking death. Why are you jumping into the river? She was really going to be angered to death by this man. She was a woman. She was a woman who caught her husband cheating on her. Now that she didn't slit her wrists, he wanted to jump into the river. Jiang Zhao frowned. He grabbed the railing and refused to be dragged down by Yi. He argued, I'm not seeking death. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm giving myself a chance. If you don't give it to me, I'll find a chance for myself. Yi hugged Jiang Zhao's waist and buried her head in his waist. Jiang Zhao, you're not allowed to jump. If you jump, you'll bring me down. I don't want to die. You're not allowed to jump. I didn't ask you to jump with me. I know how to swim. I can definitely swim to the shore. Yi raised her head. The lights on the bridge were orange and warm. The high-wattage lights were reflected on the river surface. The undulating river surface looked like it was sprinkled with countless diamonds. When the water rippled, the diamonds flickered and shimmered. She saw that the man was naked from his neck to his chest. His coat had a large collar and a large part of his chest was exposed. The wind on the river pierced her bones and she shivered. The man's gaze was still firm and determined. At this moment, he sat on the railing and felt the woman hugging his waist. In the dead of the night, they hugged each other tightly. Above them was the thick blue sky and below them was the sparkling river. The lights shone on their figures as they hugged each other. Regret. Regret that when the two of them were together, they hadn't been together like this. If this hadn't happened, they would have found a quiet place like this. At this time, with no traffic and no people, they would have hugged each other and enjoyed the night view of the river. How romantic would that have been? Romantic? He used to despise such a word, but now he yearned for it. Sitting on the railing of the bridge, he stroked the woman's head. The tip of her hair felt rough to the touch like grass. He murmured softly, Yunyi. He was thinking of something romantic, but the words that came out of his mouth were choked with sobs. He couldn't help it. Yi heard Jiang Zhao call her, and tears instantly flowed down her face. She lowered her head and bit his clothes, refusing to speak. Yunyi, I didn't want to die and I didn't want to act shamelessly either. If you don't forgive me for this, we'll start over. I also think that I deserve to die 1,000 times. I also know that you're worried that something will happen to me because you still can't let go. You just can't forgive me. I know. Jiang Zhao raised his head. The moon hid and some warm tears rolled from the corners of his eyes into his ears. Yunyi, I don't even know how to forgive myself now. I didn't think that something like this would happen. You can't get over this hurdle, but I forced you to get over it. I'm forcing you. I know I'm forcing you. But if you let me jump down and swim ashore, please give me another chance. Even if I turn over a new leaf, it'll be worth more than gold, okay? Jiang Zhao, I won't let you jump. No matter what, I won't let you jump. I don't believe in the words of a prodigal son turning over a new leaf. Nonsense. Yi hugged the man's waist even tighter. She had to hug him tightly. She hugged him tightly. The wind was strong on the river surface. If they were not careful, they might be blown off. If they fell onto the river surface, their internal organs would be smashed. Jiang Zhao, come down. We're not divorced. We're not divorced. Is that okay? Come down, jump down. Whether you're dead or alive, I'll divorce you. Yi had no choice. If Jiang Zhao acted shamelessly, she had no choice. If he didn't act shamelessly, she had no choice. She could only give in to him. He was so much older than her, but he wanted her to give in to him. What was he doing? Jiang Zhao was suddenly stunned. When he was dragged down the railing by Yi, he was a little embarrassed. Yi thought she had seen wrongly. She saw Jiang Zhao actually lower his head shyly and scratch his head in embarrassment. he was like a young boy who didn't dare to look into her eyes. Seriously, Yi Er bared her teeth and wanted to bite him. Jiang Zhao didn't look into Yi Er's eyes. He was also embarrassed to speak. It was as if he had just put on a show where he cried, threw a tantrum and threatened to hang himself. But that wasn't his original intention. He just wanted to be a man for once. Later on, when he thought about it, that was something only a teenage boy would do. But wasn't he anxious? Seeing Yi Er turn around and walk towards the car, Jiang Zhao followed. After getting into the car, he stomped on his cool and deep image. He fastened his seatbelt and said, "Wifey, let me take you for supper. Are you hungry?" Beauty Novel Songshu 566. Chapter 628. Look at how you're dressed. Do you still have the face to go out for supper? Yi Er felt that she was so unlucky. She was clearly the one who had suffered a huge grievance today, yet now she had to turn around and comfort him. She was even afraid that he would commit suicide. What kind of world was this? "Timdy. It's nothing. I'm just taking my wife out for a meal. What's wrong with wearing anything?" Jiang Zhao was blindly trying to please Yi Er. Looking at himself wearing a cashmere coat with a large lapel, he really looked very comical. If taking her out for supper like this could make her happy, then it didn't matter. "Jiang Zhao, we don't have to get a divorce, but we need to sign a separation agreement. After 2 years of separation, when you're not so stubborn anymore, we can officially separate." Yi Er was no longer impulsive. She tried her best to remain calm. In any case, between them she could never be too emotional. Ever since her father's accident, she had to mature. Her life was like this. Since he wasn't calm, then let her calm down. "Yan Yi, you're F***king playing with me?" The man roared angrily. The smile that had just crept up to his eyebrows instantly froze into ice shards. The sharp ice shards smashed into a person's body, causing them to feel pain. Qin Rongfang called Jiang Zhao's cell phone, but no one picked up. He called Yi Er's cell phone, but no one picked up. Meanwhile, in Jiang Zhao's home in mansion number 9, Jiang Zhao and Yi Er's cell phones kept ringing in their room on the second floor. Qin Rongfang then called Qin Fian. Qin Fian had just parted ways with Shen Kai. When he received Qin Rongfang's call and inquiry, he recounted everything that had happened that night in full detail. After listening to both sides, Qin Rongfang had an idea in his heart. "Grandpa, I don't think the family Ouyang will make a big deal out of this." Qin Fian left Shen Kai's neighborhood and drove in the direction of the Qin family's old mansion. "What?" Qin Fian touched the Bluetooth headset on his ear, through the spectacles on the dashboard and said, "We all know how much Ouyang Xing dotes on Ouyang Yan." He said that he would expose this matter, but would it benefit Ouyang Yan? Moreover, my brother's attitude was quite obvious at night. He was clearly on sister-in-law's side. You didn't see it at that time. Ouyang Yan had already been slapped by sister-in-law until his face was swollen like a ladle. My brother was stunned and didn't stop or persuade her. Grandpa, think about it. With my brother's temper, would he not even say a word when someone bullied his people? Moreover, when Ouyang Yan was about to slap sister-in-law, my brother immediately pressed down on Ouyang Yan's hand, and sister-in-law slapped him twice. Really? Although Qin Rongfang frowned, he then smiled and said, "Yi Er, this girl has a bit of a temper. She usually looks like a very gentle girl." Qin Fian sneered. Yi Er's temper was indeed gentle in front of Qin Rongfang. Except for the day of the proposal, she was always gentle in the Qin family. When she wasn't in front of the old man, she was much more lively. If Grandpa saw what happened at night, he didn't know how shocked he would be. Isn't that so? Anyway, I don't think Ouyang Xing is a fool. My brother is biased towards sister-in-law. If he makes a big deal out of it, what if my brother goes all out and doesn't care about anything? Ouyang Yin really can't stay in High City. Moreover, Grandpa, you know that my brother's temper really isn't something that can be threatened. When the time comes, it'll be difficult for the family Ouyang to handle. Qin Rongfang said solemnly. It's easy to make enemies but not easy to make enemies. The family Ouyang is a big family. We can't easily make enemies with them. If you don't believe me, just wait and see. Once my brother pacifies sister-in-law, if Ouyang Xing dares to jump out and threaten him, he will definitely go against the Ouyang family regardless of the family's objections. In any case, I can see that sister-in-law has been deeply hurt by Ouyang Yan's matter. My brother will probably have a hard time pacifying her, and if he doesn't get even with her, then he won't be Jiang Zhao. It's normal that she didn't answer the phone. Don't worry, I'll go back to the house and tell you that I didn't sleep last night. I won't go to work tomorrow. Up to you. You're lazy anyway. Yinyi, you're playing with me. You just agreed to it. Jiang Zhao realized that it was especially easy for him to lose control now. Yi Er clearly said that she wouldn't divorce him, but now she said that she wanted to sign a separation agreement. Even if she didn't say anything, he knew that he couldn't sign it. After signing the separation agreement, they would have to divorce after the separation agreement expired. Was he stupid? If they didn't divorce now, would they divorce in 2 years? I didn't. Yi Er continued to drive. She got off the bridge that crossed the river and drove towards the suburbs. She was very awake and didn't want to sleep at all. You lied to me. Jiang Zhao was completely like a child at this moment. He didn't care if he was in the wrong today. He just wanted to shout at Yi Er with a louder voice. Go back and suppress it. You're really shameless. How dare you say that I lied to you? Yi Er gritted her teeth angrily. She was going to suffer internal injuries because of him. Jiang Zhao lowered his shoulders and looked at Yi Er. He reached out and rubbed his face. Then he exhaled. The pitiful expression in his eyes was so pitiful that he wished he could stuff it all into Yi Er's eyes. Yunyi, I don't have a face but you do. So don't lie to me. Just now you said that you wouldn't divorce me, so you'll never divorce me. Damn you. I don't have a face either. Don't talk to me about that nonsense. Jiang Zhao suddenly smiled and pulled the sleeve of Yi's sweater that was sticking to her forearm like a lackey. Then wouldn't the two of us, who are shameless, be able to live the rest of our lives together? Yi Er turned her face and glanced at Jiang Zhao's handsome, good-looking and cowardly face. She suddenly felt like her head was rushing to blood. The flight time from Jiang District to Haiqing was 1 hour and 40 minutes. When Qin Rongfang and Qin Fian picked up Old Master Jiang, Old Madam Jiang, Xuanhuan, and Little Mian Mian, it was already late at night. It was already 11 o'clock in the morning. Old Madam Jiang didn't have any physical reaction. When she saw Qin Rongfang and Qin Fian, she hurriedly walked towards the exit with her walking stick. Little Mian Mian didn't want the nanny to carry him, so Jiang Rui carried him in his arms. Xuanhuan chased after Old Madam Jiang to help her. Grandma, please walk slowly. Xuanhuan, you take care of Mian Mian. I was a sprinter when I was young. This speed isn't considered fast. Qin Rongfang just called out, Sister? Qin Fian pushed his glasses. Grandpa, that's so old-fashioned. It's so unpleasant to hear you call her sister. You're already so old, but you make it sound like you're flirting with a girl. Qin Rongfang glared at him. Old Master Jiang, Old Madam Jiang, and Qin Rongfang sat in the same car. Qin Fian received the young man. Old Madam Jiang sat in the back and patted the back of the front passenger seat. I can't get through to Zhao Zhao's phone. What's going on? How big is this matter going to get? Qin Rongfang sat in the front and didn't turn his head. His face was full of worry. Zhao Zhao didn't go to work and there's no one at home. They didn't bring their mobile phones. I went to check the CCTV just now and the car drove out. Fian told me not to worry and that Zhao Zhao knows what he's doing. Zhao Zhao has been working for so many years, and he has never said that he doesn't go to work. I asked Lai Qing to call him personally to ask for leave. Old Master Zhang's face darkened. He's getting more and more outrageous. His voice immediately lowered. Could there be an accident? Now I've asked Lai Qing to arrange people to look for him. I just thought of using his car's GPS to look for him. I knew it wouldn't be so smooth. Old Madam Jiang listened to the two men talk for a while, but she didn't say anything. Finally, she patted the back of the front seat. Her small walking stick was nestled under her wrinkled hands. Although her eyes had been wrinkled into a triangular shape, her eyes were full of shrewdness. Old Qin, asked the driver to drive to the family Ouyang. I'll go and meet this old guy Ouyang Sheng and see what he wants. If what Fian told you is the truth, then Zhao Zhao has been set up. If he dares to harm my Jiang family so openly, I'll be the first to not let him go. Now that Zhao Zhao and my granddaughter-in-law are not calm, let them go. I'm very calm now. You drive the car to the family Ouyang for me. You men talk about love and righteousness. I'm a woman, I don't talk about that. Old Master Jiang saw that the old lady was a little serious, but he was also a little worried that her body couldn't calm down. He reached out and stroked her knee. Don't get involved. I'll settle these matters with old Qin. You'll solve them? Old Madam Jiang's small and capable appearance shook. She raised her chin. The skin on her neck was a little loose, but her chin was still raised firmly. A man's responsibility is to clean up a mess. When I can't solve it, you'll clean up the mess for me. The stall will be fine. I've been holding back this anger for several years. Last time it was you who lost face and it was me who was slapped in the face. This time I want to see if his family Ouyang thinks he should do whatever he wants. Old Master Jiang glanced at Qin Rongfang in the front seat. Qin Rongfang couldn't wait for Old Madam Jiang to come forward, but he didn't say anything. After all, in High City the family Ouyang always met the Qin family face to face. Sometimes, when they did something that offended people, they felt a little uncomfortable. Moreover, whether or not it was a trap this time, his grandson slept with someone else's granddaughter. Moreover, how could a man say these things? This matter was settled like this. The two high-end cars drove one after another to the family Ouyang's old residence. When they arrived at the family Ouyang, Qin Fian was called by Qin Fian to find Jiang Zhao. Qin Fian directly left, saying that he would send someone to pick him up later. Knowing that old Master Jiang's family had also arrived in High City, Ouyang Xing focused for a moment, but soon calmed down. Inviting a large group of passers-by to sit down in the reception hall, little Mian arrogantly slapped away the nanny's hand and walked to his grandfather. Old Master Jiang sat on the soft leather sofa and lowered his head. Little Mian stretched out his hand to pinch old Master Jiang's face and rubbed it, laughing as he rubbed it. When he caught old Master Jiang's nose, he stood on his tiptoes and stretched out his mouth to bite it. Old Master Jiang deliberately laughed and dodged. He raised his hand high and gently landed on little Mian's butt. Bad boy. Old Master Jiang laughed and scolded. Ouyang Xing. Old Madam at home asked the kitchen staff to prepare the dishes. Grandma Bai sat beside old Master Jiang. She held a small walking stick in one hand and pressed it with the other. She looked at Ouyang Xing, who was sitting on the sofa opposite her, and said apologetically, "Laosi, you don't have to prepare the dishes. With this little devil at home, we rarely bring him out to eat. He's so mischievous that I feel flustered." "He's such a cute child, what's there to feel flustered about?" Ouyang Xing knew that they did not come with good intentions, but he still laughed it off. "What's there to be cute about? He's so mischievous. Our Jiang family has a bunch of boys. I feel so annoyed just by looking at them." Grandma Bai glanced sideways at Xuanhuan and winked at her quickly. When Xuanhuan heard Grandma Bai saying that boys were annoying, she felt as though her heart was pinched and felt somewhat uncomfortable. But when she saw Grandma Bai winking at her, she instantly understood and smiled. "Grandma, I can't control whether it's a boy or a girl." Ouyang Xing tried to persuade her as though he was the host. "That's right. Besides, it's the same whether it's a boy or a girl. We can just have another one." Awesome novel. Songshu 566. Chapter 629. Old Madam Qi waved her hand and sighed helplessly. "Just them? I'm not counting on them anymore. Before they got married, I looked at the photo and told eldest brother that Xiangyi is going to give birth to a boy. Eldest brother didn't believe me. Just wait and see. If they give birth to a girl, I think that girl from the Yun family is more reliable. Once I look at the photo, I'm sure she'll give birth to a girl that I like. When the time comes, I'll be able to suppress the Jiang family." Xianhuan sat beside Jiang Rui. Jiang Rui didn't say anything and hugged her shoulder. Xianhuan put her hand on Jiang Rui's thigh and looked at old Master Jiang. She pouted. "Grandpa, look, people say that boys and girls are all the same. Yi'er hasn't given birth to a girl yet, but Grandma is already biased. You have to dote on our Nian more. Otherwise, how can the little sister bully her brother the moment she's born?" Old Master Jiang carried little Nian who was standing in front of him. The one-year-old boy looked so adorable in his arms. He was so fair and tender that he wanted to take a bite out of him. Old Master Jiang acted as if he didn't hear anything and lowered his head to tickle little Nian. "Oh, my little sweetheart, let's tell great-grandma that we'll treat our little sister well in the future, okay? You can't be biased, right?" Jiang Rui held Xianhuan's hand and smiled. "As an elder brother, you should give in to your little sister. You can't be so narrow-minded. You have to teach Nian to be more open-minded. If you don't believe me, you can ask fourth grandpa if Haizi has been giving in to Yun since young." The topic of the conversation was from the Jiang family to Ouyang Yen. Although it was a topic of conversation, Ouyang Xing didn't feel comfortable at all. How could he not see that this family was acting? That girl from the Yun family would definitely give birth to a girl? Those words were obviously meant for him to hear. Haizi can't not give in to Yun. Girls are easy to bully. Ouyang Xing seemed to be implying something. The atmosphere instantly turned cold. "Fourth brother, I won't beat around the bush anymore. I think Jiang Zhao should stand up and apologize to your Yen." The old madam touched her walking stick and opened and closed her withered hands, looking very solemn. Qin Rongfang and Master Jiang immediately calmed their breathing as they were ready to clean up the mess. Jiang Rui took little Nian from old Master Jiang's arms and took little Nyang. Little Jian stretched his arms and wanted to be carried by Xuanhuan. He was determined to escape from Jiang Rui's evil clutches. Xuanhuan carried little Jian and said softly, "Bite daddy's nose." Little Jianyan giggled. Apologize. What's the big deal about apologizing? Jiang Zhao must be responsible for Yunyun. I, Ouyang Sheng, only have one granddaughter. How can I let Jiang Zhao bully her like this? The topic was changed quickly. Old Madame Jiang liked it very much. They had made it clear in the beginning. What they needed now was to talk about the follow-up. He must be responsible for this. I won't say anything. Old Madame Jiang sighed. She took a look at Old Master Jiang and then at Ouyang Sheng. Until now, I have never seen such a bastard like Jiang Zhao. You can ask old Qin about Qin Jin's divorce with Lai Qing. That's because Qin Jin minded too much about Lai Qing's past. We can't control how the men of the Jiang family play before marriage. That includes Jiang Feng. That boy is always stirring up trouble. As long as he can solve it himself, no matter if it's me or old Jiang, we will never say a word about him. That's how society is now, right? Ouyang Sheng leaned back. He let out a dissatisfied snort. Old Madame Jiang's purpose was too clear. It seemed that he didn't need to laugh it off and be polite. Old Madame Jiang didn't mind and continued to sigh. I've always said that I'm old and can't keep up with this era, but I've tried my best to keep up with the pace of this era. I've always told the little wolf cubs in our family that before they get married, they can settle who they are sorry to, who they talk to, and who they sleep with. Don't make trouble at home and cause trouble for me. I'll turn a blind eye to it and won't get involved. But once they get a marriage certificate, they have to be responsible for this family. Before Xiang Yi married into our Jiang family, although she suffered some hardships, after she got married, our family treated her like our own daughter. Yi couldn't come over by plane because I couldn't take the plane, and Jiang Zhao didn't have time to return to Jiang district. I haven't officially drunk her tea yet, but Jiang Zhao was the one who agreed to marry his wife. Whether it was good or bad, he had to admit it. Now that he's married and has done something to let his wife down, he should be punished. Ouyang Sheng sneered. Big sister, I don't like what you're saying. In the end, our Yunyun is the victim. Old Madame Jiang smiled and asked, your Yunyun was forced by our Jiang Zhao? She was willing to marry a man she didn't like? What happiness is there in such a marriage? Ouyang Sheng was stunned. Our Yunyun naturally likes Jiang Zhao and is willing to marry him. Old Madame Jiang didn't give Ouyang Sheng time to think. So you're saying that Jiang Zhao didn't force Yunyun? Yunyun was willing to marry Jiang Zhao? How would I know? Ouyang Sheng was so anxious that his face turned red. This old woman was clearly setting a trap for him. You don't know? If you don't know, then why did you force Yunyun to marry Jiang Zhao? That's their private matter. Besides, they've talked about it before. Yunyun is staying in Jiang Zhao's house in the north of the city. Everyone in Haiqing is talking about what happened between them. Both of them have feelings for each other. How could I force Yunyun to marry him? That means both of them are traitors. Old Madame Jiang stabbed the floor with her walking stick. When Ouyang Sheng heard the word traitor, his expression changed. Xuanhuan glanced at old Madame Jiang's skinny figure. She sighed in her heart. How many people in the Jiang family could be their match? If they really wanted to do something, there would be many ways. Although she had suffered a lot before she entered the Jiang family, there was one good thing. After she became a legitimate member of the Jiang family, Old Master Jiang and Old Madame Jiang were very protective of her. The stamp on the marriage certificate was really important. That be asterisk starred. Old Madame Jiang stood up. Xuanhuan immediately got up to support her and patted her back. Old Madame Jiang stomped the floor with her walking stick. Her expression was as stiff as a steel plate. She said to Ouyang Sheng angrily, that be asterisk starred. Jiang Zhao, that be asterisk starred is a be asterisk starred. If this happened in the past, they would have been sent to the deep river. Old Jiang and I are people who have been involved in the revolution. What we liberated was the fate of women. In the end, our own granddaughter-in-law became the target of liberation and our own grandson became the target of a bullet. How can old Jiang and I endure this? That be asterisk starred. I must find him today. If he doesn't admit his mistake to that lass from the Yun family, I'll break his legs. Ouyang Sheng suddenly felt that he had been slapped in the face. Old Madame Jiang was scolding Jiang Zhao for being AB asterisk starred and a good-for-nothing. She was also scolding his granddaughter for committing adultery. In the past, if a pregnant woman couldn't find a man, she would be sent to the deep river. If both of them were caught, they would be sent to the deep river together. Get shot? Ouyang Sheng was angered by old Madame Jiang's words and stood up. What do you mean? Are you saying that we don't need to care about our Yunyun anymore? I'm not afraid to tell you. Old Madame Jiang snorted. Yunyun and Jiang Zhao have committed adultery. Both of them should kneel in front of that lass from the Yun family and kowtow to admit their mistakes. Although I'm old, I still know some of these new words. Jiang Zhao is having an affair. Yun Yun is a third party who has an affair with a married man. Whether it's Jiang Zhao or Yun Yun, their crimes are unforgivable. The biggest victim here is that lass from the Yun family. She has a marriage certificate and is protected. But she isn't protected. Her husband has committed adultery. Don't you think so? Old Master Yun and Qin Rongfang stood up at this time. They wanted to persuade old Madame Jiang not to be so agitated, but old Madame Jiang acted as if she had a grudge against Ouyang Sheng. Her words were like cannons that couldn't be stopped. After committing adultery, Yun Yun still asked Jiang Zhao to divorce and marry her. That's destroying other people's families. If this was in our era, either one of these would be enough for the two of them to suffer. I won't protect Jiang Zhao in this matter. Even if he is removed from his position and scram home, I won't sympathize with him at all. Old Madame Jiang's trump card was very clear. Even if Jiang Zhao's future was affected, he wouldn't divorce her. However, this wasn't what Qin Rongfang and Old Master Jiang wanted at all. They wanted to reconcile. They couldn't affect Jiang Zhao's future. When Ouyang Sheng heard Old Madame Jiang's last sentence, the anger in his stomach exploded. He said coldly, "You came here today to tell me this, right?" Old Madame Jiang said, "No. At first I didn't want to say this. I wanted to come here to make my stand. I must make Jiang Zhao come out and apologize to Yun Yun. But you said that after Jiang Zhao and Yun Yun committed adultery, I feel sorry for that lass, so I will seek justice for that lass." Who said that it was adultery? Your Jiang Zhao clearly left, but he turned back to look for Yun Yun. I have photos of them sleeping together. Fine. Since you said it wasn't adultery, then it must be Jiang Zhao who forced himself on Yun Yun. You can prepare the evidence and sue him. You can provide the photos. If that lass of the Yun family wants to take revenge, she can also sue Jiang Zhao for having an affair. She can create a ruckus on the streets. If I stand up for her, I'm not a good person. Old Madame Jiang slammed her walking stick on the floor. Bang. The sound was like the hammer in the hands of the judge deciding the case. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Xuanhuan held her breath and did not dare to exhale. Grandma Bai looked too serious. It was as if she was being impulsive and serious. It was as if she was being serious on a whim. She said that it could be a big or small matter. Was Grandma Bai really going to ruin Jiang Zhao? Old Master Jiang got up and patted Old Madame Jiang's back. Calm down, calm down. You're always like this. You'll get into trouble later. Since all of you want to blow this matter up, then go ahead. Ouyang Sheng put his hands on his waist. He didn't want to be polite with anyone today. Old Madame Jiang snorted and said righteously, "Even if we don't blow this matter up, we can't solve it." The two of them must be used as negative examples. Both of them think that we have powerful families to protect us. That's why we dared to be so unruly behind our wives' backs. Young people nowadays have no sense of responsibility for their families. Jiang Zhao is still young, not even 30 years old. This lesson will be enough for him to reflect on for the rest of his life. He must know the importance of family harmony to his career. Even if he doesn't go into politics, he can still choose other paths. However, he has to be responsible for the rest of his life. If he doesn't learn a lesson, he won't remember it. His life has been too smooth. This shouldn't have happened. When Ouyang Sheng heard Old Madame Jiang saying such heartless words, his face turned pale. He felt as though there was blood stuck in his throat and he swallowed it back down. Yun Yi had rushed into his house and hit him like a madwoman. What if she really took the photos and caused a ruckus on the streets? This family of foxes. Was she telling the truth? Beauty novel Xianhu 799. Chapter 630. Yer drove the car to the foot of an unknown mountain in the distant suburbs. Later she got tired of driving and stopped there. It had been a long time since she could do whatever she wanted. Who cares? Even if the sky fell, so be it. Jiang Zhao's strategy was to not fight back when hit or scolded. In any case, he claimed that he was guilty and deserved to be punished, hit, and scolded. Yer made a fuss. She felt that she was especially boring. She told him to divorce and he said no. She told him to separate and he said no. She told him to go to hell and he said okay. Wasn't this asking for her life? In the end, she was worn down until there was nothing left but annoyance. She felt that she had never been so annoyed with him before. He was so annoying, so annoying. The two of them slept in the car. Yer turned off the engine. Jiang Zhao said, "Turn on the air conditioner." Turning on the air conditioner is bad for the car. Are you an idiot? It's fine. If it gets bad, we can buy another one. Buy the one you like. If you don't turn on the air conditioner and we're so little, you'll catch a cold. Crazy. In the end, he started the car and turned on the air conditioner for the whole night. At dawn, Ye reached out and patted the chair Jianghu was sleeping on. Drive the car back to work. I want to stay here for a while. Ye saw that the scenery nearby was pretty good. There were signs that looked like farmhouses, so she could stay for 2 days. She really didn't want to go back. She wanted to indulge herself and give herself a break. Jianghu slept in the passenger seat. After the chair was leveled, he lay on it. His legs were still uneven. It was too long. He raised his hands and put them behind his head. I'm not going. Are you crazy? It's Monday. Jianghu closed his eyes and said, I'm not crazy. I'm going to lose my wife soon. Why should I go to work? I'm not going to work. I don't rely on that little salary anyway. What's so good about that work? You can't even wear clothes that are too expensive. Even your wedding ring is a plain ring. You don't even dare to buy a pigeon egg to wear. Which of those rich madams doesn't stretch out their fingers to show off? Let's go back. I'll buy you a new pigeon egg. You can wear it out to make others envious. We'll buy the biggest one. If someone surpasses you, we'll change. Ye's mouth twitched. Was this guy's brain short-circuited? Lie down and pretend to be asleep. Jianghu did not hear Ye's reply. He opened his eyes and saw Ye glaring at him with crooked teeth. He chuckled. What do you think? Ye sighed. Jianghu, you should be more rational. You're already an adult, you should be more reliable. This job is not about the salary. The Jiang family and the Qin family are counting on you to enter the provincial party committee in the future, or even move up the ranks. Aren't you afraid that your family will be upset by your words of self-abandonment? If you don't go back with me, why should I go to work? If you don't go back, I won't go back. You're threatening me. Do you know that? I'm not threatening you. I just want to be with you. If we don't split, how are we going to live? Right now, I'm afraid that you'll be next to me. I feel disgusted when you put your hand on me. Ye wasn't lying. She couldn't get rid of the things in her mind. However, she wasn't as agitated as she was last night because she had met a rascal. If she got agitated, he would do something even more agitated. She couldn't handle his tricks anymore. She could only speak softly and talk to him in a gentle manner. Jianghu turned his body to the side. Ye was still lying flat on the mainframe seat. Looking at Ye's face, she was indeed haggard, but the finger marks on her face had faded a lot and were no longer swollen. He also knew that what she said was disgusting, so he tried his best not to touch her. He didn't dare to hug her because if he hugged her, she would start to attack him again and start to be on guard. He knew that she instinctively hated him. He turned around and looked at the sky outside the skylight. She sighed. Yunyi, have you ever thought that it wasn't easy for us to get married? You said that you wanted to marry me in front of so many people. Do you still remember that time when you called me and lied to me that you got into a car accident? When I was about to look for you, you ran out of the crowd and hugged me as soon as you ran out. I was so angry that I wanted to stomp my feet. I was worried that you had gotten into a car accident, but you played with me. You stood in front of me in perfect condition. You made me worry for nothing. I asked you what you wanted to do and you said that you wanted to marry me. Jianghu was stunned. He closed his eyes and said, What do you want to do? You said that you want to marry me. Yunyi, I will never forget that time when you told me that you wanted to marry me. Do you know that your eyes were like fireworks at that time? It was as if the night sky was lit up all of a sudden. I still remember your tone and expression clearly. It was as if they were carved into my mind with a knife. I remember that you were so confident and firm at that time. You were like a stake that was firmly planted in front of me and I couldn't push you away. It was as if you were determined to marry me and no one could stop you. It was as if you would never regret it for the rest of your life. At that time you were so confident that I was stunned. I will always remember where you were standing at that time. At that time the maple leaves were red, above your head and around you. At that time the golden sun shone through those yezi and shone into your eyes. Yunyi, your eyes were so bright at that time. I will never forget it for the rest of my life. Yunyi, no matter whether you were sincere or not, do you dare to deny that you were pretending to be so determined at that time? Ye listened to him and was a little mesmerized. When she heard the man's slightly hoarse narration, she couldn't help but feel sad. She slowly said, I wasn't pretending. At that time I already wanted to marry you. I thought that I couldn't let Ouyang Yen marry you. If she married you, I would become a mistress. I didn't want to be a mistress. I was determined not to be a mistress. I had this thought. With this thought, she turned herself into the main wife and Ouyang Yen into a mistress. Jianghu listened and let out a long breath. He felt somewhat comforted, gratified, and relieved. In short, the soft part of his heart was extremely warm even though it was sour at this time. Yunyi, I know you saw it yesterday. I explained to you that there was nothing between me and her. You didn't believe me but I still told you. Sigh. Jianghu, I don't want to hear your explanations right now. Really, I know you don't want to get a divorce, so let's not get a divorce for now. Let's break up for a while. Jianghu, let's break up for a while. You can deal with the outside world as much as you want, I won't care anymore. Anyway, I don't need to get married now. We'll talk about this again when things have calmed down. Let's live in harmony in the future. Some people said that time was not as good as obsession and time was not as good as fickle. In her opinion, the nemesis of obsession was the spear of time. The root of fickleness was the essence of human nature. At the end of the day, there was nothing in this world that could not change. She hated her calmness and maturity at this time. Although the dull pain in her heart was still clear, she realized that she had not learned anything else in the past 2 years. She had learned one thing, and that was to be ruthless to herself. Ever since her father's accident, she had done many things without leaving a way out for herself. She had forced herself to death many times. Xuanhuan said that there would be a way out. If there was no way out, there would be a way out. Where there were feet, there would be a way out. So it was impossible for people to have no way out. She had forced herself to the beach and dared to swim over because she thought she could swim. She had married Yen. She had forced herself to the forest and dared to barge in because she thought there were wild fruits. She had forced herself to the edge of a cliff and dared to take off her clothes as a parachute and jump down. There was nothing she did not dare to do, including slapping herself hard to wake herself up, including hitting Ouyang Yen to vent the humiliation in her heart. She did not hit him but, although she hated him, she could not bear to do it. Jianghu paused for a few seconds and chewed on her words a few times. Suddenly, he felt his blood rushing to his heart. No matter how he confessed or explained, it was useless. She had closed the door to her heart and did not want to communicate with him. She did not want to waste her breath on him. She did not need to remarry now? She did not need to do it now? She would need to do it in the future? She still wanted to marry someone else? Wait for everyone to calm down before saying all these? She said she loved him and now she said she wanted to wait for things to calm down? Love was love and then she could stop loving him just because she said she did not love him? Was it easy to say these words? Yunyi, Jianghu sat up. How do you plan to calm down with me? I will not agree to live apart from you. Yer also sat up with him. She leaned against the car door and looked at him. Jianghu, can you be more reasonable? When Jianghu was silent, he only cared about inhaling and exhaling. His heavy breaths enveloped the entire car. Yer looked at him stubbornly and resisted his final struggle. The man's lips were a little dry from being exposed to the air conditioner all night. He stuck out the tip of his tongue and licked it lightly. Can I still be reasonable now? Haven't I already lost all reason? Am I not only left with being unreasonable and making trouble for no reason? If this had happened in the past, if she had wanted to talk about divorce or breaking up, he would have been in the mood to talk nonsense with her. But now he did not dare to talk nonsense with her. As long as he compromised a little, it would be exactly what she wanted. He knew that although she was young, she was not afraid of trouble at all. Now that she had even thought of a way out for herself with Yun Hongwei's matter and was planning to bear it alone, what meaning and value did he have left? He had no bargaining chip to threaten her, so he could only be unreasonable and make trouble for no reason. You still want to sleep in the same bed as me? Jianghu, what kind of logic is this? You can't bully people like this. I don't want to sleep in the same bed as you. Fine, but you can't be separated from me. Yunyi, let's all take a step back. We'll still stay in mansion number 9. We'll still treat both sides' elders well. There are 2 rooms on the 2nd floor. In the future you'll sleep in the big room and I'll sleep in the small room. I promise I won't touch you, but don't mention signing any separation agreement with me. Jianghu, I won't feel free like that. I don't want to please you in the future. I don't want to be so tired. I want to move out and live the life I want to live. I can find a job as a dance teacher. The income won't be bad. Actually, I've asked before. I can support my brother and father. I'll discuss father's matter with Xia Qian and ask her to teach me how to use public opinion to add fuel to the fire. No. Jianghu interrupted with a sullen face. You're still my wife now. We're not divorced yet. What right do you have to discuss your matter with Xia Qian and not me? Fine, I'll do as you say. I don't care about you. You want freedom. If you want to be a dance teacher, go ahead. But you can't change the previous plans. Father's matter, the matter of studying, the matter of opening a dance studio, none of them can be changed. Ad Hongcha 866. Chapter 631. Jiang Zhao was so sure that he almost finished speaking in one breath. He couldn't stop. He had to pour out his thoughts. He couldn't let her make the decision. What did it look like? She wanted to draw a clear line between them. This was something he couldn't allow. If their previous plans were to change, his marriage would really be over. She was very young to begin with. It was so easy for her to forget someone. If she broke away from his control, she would become more and more independent. It wasn't a good thing for a woman to be too independent because he could clearly feel that she wanted to break away from him. First, she wanted to break away from him from a single point of view. In the end, she wanted to break away from him in all aspects. He wouldn't give her such a chance. If she wanted to open a dance studio, he would find someone to help her choose a location. He would pay for it. He could often give her advice on management. This way she would rely on him. If she wanted to study, he could tutor her. As for Xuanhuan's matter, he could speed up and help her settle it. He couldn't wait anymore. He had to settle it even if he had to pay the price. As long as it was settled, she would be grateful to him. Therefore, all of these things couldn't have nothing to do with him. It had to be related. The family Ouyang's old residence was very tense. Ouyang Yin had been listening to the conversation in the living room from the corner of the corridor. She covered her face and cried but couldn't make a sound. She didn't know if old madam's words were true. In short, she was afraid. She was really afraid. If old madam got involved in this matter to seek justice for Yunyi and insisted on blowing this matter up and even allowed Yunyi to take revenge on Jiang Zhao, what kind of situation would that be? The entire Haiqing would scold her and Jiang Zhao for being an adulterous couple. What would she do if Yunyi became more arrogant and jumped out to make trouble? If Jiang Zhao became a man who wouldn't change his mind to save his family, what would she do? She would be despised even more. Being despised wasn't scary. What was scary was that even if she was despised, she wouldn't be able to become Mrs. Jiang. The Jiang family didn't seem to like her very much. However, old Master Jiang had specially come from Jiang district to put in a good word for her. Ouyang Yin clenched his fists. His face was covered in bruises and bruises. His face shape and skin color could not be seen. His eyes, which were originally as calm as water, were slowly stained with resentment. Xuanhuan supported Grandma Bai, but Grandma Bai refused to sit down. Ouyang Sheng was taller than Grandma Bai. He stood on the opposite side of the coffee table with his head held high, looking very domineering. Grandma Bai did not want to lose her imposing manner. Her petite body supported herself with a walking stick, which made her look like a dignified old madam. Fourth bro, you should call Yunyun out. We can ask her face to face. Children can always explain everything clearly. It's useless for us adults to worry here. In fact, the old lady knew very well that she was making a scene because she wanted to have a psychological battle with Ouyang Sheng. When she was young, she had encountered countless enemies. Women could not win in a fight. Sometimes they had to rely on their wits and pretentiousness. How could she allow others to defame her grandson? How could she destroy her grandson's future with her own hands? Ouyang Sheng, that sly old fox, wanted to use the fact that the Jiang family and the Qin family were afraid that Jiang Zhao's future would be ruined. She wanted to see who could afford to lose. Obviously, Ouyang Sheng could not afford to lose the Ouyang Yan's reputation. Even if Jiang Zhao did not work in politics, he could still do business. With the influence of the Jiang family and the Qin family as well as Jiang Zhao's own companies, he had a bright future ahead of him. Even if he got divorced, at most he would be recorded as a playboy in the history of men. Ouyang Yin could also choose not to work in the prosecutor's office. He could still do business, but what about the future? No matter where she went, people would remember that she was slapped by the former Mrs. Jiang. Her face was so swollen that it looked like a ladle. Moreover, the Jiang family did not allow her to enter their house. A playboy's playboy reputation could be called amorous, but a playboy reputation for a woman was called cheap. Who was the one who was at a disadvantage? Ouyang Sheng was clearer than anyone else. When the Jiang family wanted to smash the pot, the family Ouyang dared to follow the Jiang family and smash the pot, the Ouyang Yin. Was that so? Obviously they did not dare to do so. Yunyun is injured. It's not convenient for her to come out and meet guests. Ouyang Sheng refused. I've heard about it from Fian. Grandma Bai heaved a long sigh, seeming to be regretful. She did not hear it from Fian but from Qin Rongfang. However, she told Ouyang Sheng that she heard it from Fian. Fian was the first eyewitness and witnessed the grand occasion at that time. Ouyang Sheng's eyebrows sank slightly. Grandma Bai patted Xianhuan's hand. Xuanhuan, you and Yunyun are both young people. There's no generation gap between you two. Go and take a look at her. Yer is still young and impulsive. However, you're her sister-in-law. Now that your sister-in-law has hurt someone, you should go and apologize. This lass is really too much. Her own husband had also done something wrong, so why did she keep hitting other people's women? She should also give Jianghu a few slaps on his face as well. A man like him would be afraid of being hit. He would not dare to do such a disgraceful thing in the future. Xuanhuan was obedient and witty when she was outside. Her gentle voice had won Grandma Bai's favor. Grandma, don't worry. I'll definitely do my part. Grandma Bai patted Xianhuan's hand again. Good girl, the daughter-in-law of the Jiang family should do her part. Ouyang Xing held his forehead. He had been scolded many times today. How could a disgraceful thing be used to describe a man having an affair outside? Part? Was she saying that his granddaughter seduced a married man and did not do her part? If he still wanted to live for a few more years, he had to chase away this pack of wolves and foxes. He had already confronted them earlier. Now he only said coldly, I'll ask Xuanhuan about this matter. Both of you can go back. Anyway, Xuanhuan is not used to eating outside. Grandma Bai laughed and stood up. She pulled Grandpa Zhang's collar. Go, go, go. Take the little devil back. You dote on him anyway. Jiang Rui carried little Xuanhuan and stood up. Son, let's go back. Let's go play with Uncle and Auntie. Let's play marbles, okay? Xianhuan's mouth twitched. Marbles? All the diamonds in the box at home had been taken by her son to play with marbles. She had tried to stop him many times, but he always said that they were at home. If they really could not be found, they would come out when the house was cleaned. When she was angry with him, he would say that they were just glass marbles. What kind of people were they? Qin Fian followed Jiang Liqing to find Jiang Zhao's car. When the two of them were surrounded by several military vehicles, one of them looked panicked while the other looked calm and composed. Yi asked anxiously, Jiang Zhao, what should we do? Dad is here. Are we in big trouble? The woman, who had just said that she would be given a holiday, quickly lost her courage and pulled Jiang Zhao's sleeve in fright. It wasn't that Jiang Zhao didn't like it. He thought, Brother Liqing, you came at the right time. My wife is finally willing to touch me. I haven't even jumped into the river and she's already willing to touch me. Dad? Her brother Liqing, you're my dad, my dear dad. Did you hear that? Your daughter-in-law is calling you dad. You have to respond louder later. I'll drink with you more next time. Jiang Zhaoxian leisurely looked at the rearview mirror and adjusted the collar of his coat. Ah, his chest muscles are really sexy. He lightly said, well, I guess he just got into big trouble. Who knows, if he likes it then so be it. What should we do? What should we do if Dad asks? What do you mean what should we do? Anyway, even if the sky falls, we'll use it as a blanket. Jiang Zhao knew that today's beating was unavoidable. Other families' children had stopped using corporal punishment a long time ago, but the Jiang family still kept this tradition. He could almost hear the whooshing sound of his father's whip in the air. How many years had it been since he was whipped because he was smart? The person who knocked on Jiang Zhao's car door was not Jiang Liqing or any other soldier or officer. Instead, it was Qin Fian, a handsome and meticulously dressed man. He was wearing a flashy green sweater in the middle of winter, and his coat was still open. With his hands in his trouser pockets, he wobbled to the side of the off-road vehicle. When he wanted to lean on it and pose, he found that the car was a little dirty, so he immediately stood up straight and knocked on the glass window of the passenger seat with his mobile phone in his hand. A pair of charming phoenix eyes overflowed with a playful smile under the lensless frame glasses. Oh, you've come all the way to the wilderness to date? Jiang Zhao rolled down the window and said recklessly, are you jealous? Jealous, right? Qin Fian looked at Jiang Zhao, who was wearing a cashmere coat, and Yi who was only wearing a sweater. He reached out and tugged at Jiang Zhao's collar. Brother, when did you go the sexy route? At this time your style suddenly changed. I suddenly felt like I was struck by lightning. Are you planning to steal my rice bowl in the future? What rice bowl? My market is different from yours. Yes. I attract handsome men. You attract. Jiang Zhao noticed that Qin Fian was looking at Yi. When he turned around, he saw that Yi's face had indeed darkened. He turned around and glared at Qin Fian fiercely, reprimanding in a low voice, You only know how to find trouble for me. Qin Fian smiled devilishly, don't glare at me. Good luck to you. He paused slightly and looked at Yi. Yi heard the pause and looked up, coincidentally meeting Qin Fian's eyes. Qin Fian's eyes quickly fell on Jiang Zhao's eyes. Uncle is going to give you a heavy punishment this time. Even if you don't die, you will be skinned alive. Yi was shocked. She had heard that Jiang Liqing was a very cruel person, but after getting married she didn't find out. Even if he didn't die, he would be skinned alive. What kind of concept was that? Her little fists unconsciously clenched tightly. Jianghu shrugged. You don't have to say that. I can already feel the murderous intent. It was good that someone was going to punish him. The military car honked a few times. Jianghu said to Yi'er, drive. Follow Dad's car. If you're tired, I'll drive. Qin Fian walked out of the driver's seat and opened the car door. Sister-in-law, you sit in the back. I'll drive. Yi'er heard Qin Fian's words and shivered the moment she got out of the car. She didn't wear a jacket, so it was really cold. The off-road car followed behind the military car, and there were a few other cars following behind. It was as if they were escorting a criminal. Yier's hair stood on end. Thinking about Qin Fian's words, even if he didn't die, he would be skinned alive. She couldn't help but shiver and pat the back of the front seat. Fian, where are we going? Qin Fian drove the car and took a deep breath. The Qin family's old residence. Sister-in-law, you should find something for my brother to fill his stomach with. After being whipped, he probably won't even have the strength to eat. Uncle hasn't whipped anyone in a long time. He really wants to drink human blood. Yier's back was instantly drenched in cold sweat. Attention Songshu 566. Chapter 632. Yier was trembling as she listened. She sat behind Qin Fian and saw that the man in the front passenger seat was sitting there like a dead pig, unafraid of boiling water, as if he was resting. He had always been like this, able to take everything calmly and not panic in the face of danger. Yier tilted her head over. Fian, do we have to go to the Qin family's old residence? I haven't eaten yet, I'm a little hungry. Yier knew that this trip boded ill rather than well. Qin Fian usually spoke so casually. Although she couldn't tell if he was lying or not, she knew that he wasn't joking just by looking at the military vehicles. She wanted to escape. Qin Fian wasn't a fool. Even if Jianghu wasn't dressed to the nines like him, he was still decent and elegant. Now that he was dressed so comically, it was obvious that he was chasing his wife. This matter wouldn't end so easily. But Yier's worries were clearly heard by him. Remembering that his brother had been troubled all night, Qin Fian decided to help him. Sister-in-law, I'm afraid we can't leave now. There are military vehicles in front and behind us. If Uncle gets angry and catches us as deserters, it'll be even worse. You can go back to the Qin residence and find something to eat. Anyway, you won't be whipped, my brother will be the one getting whipped. It would have been better if Qin Fian hadn't said it, but once he said that Jianghu would be whipped, Yier's heart couldn't help but tremble. She clenched her little fists and trembled. He's already so old, why does he still have to be whipped? Jianghu's eyes were still closed, but his eyelashes fluttered. The corners of his mouth curled up imperceptibly as he sighed. Family law. That's how our family works. He wasn't lying. If a father wanted to call for a whip, no matter how old his son was, the biggest concession he could make was to find a secluded place where no outsiders could see. He wouldn't call for a whip above his neck where outsiders could see. This was already a huge honor. He smiled. It was just that he knew that there was someone worried about him. It felt really good to have a woman he liked worry about him. Why didn't he experience it earlier? Qin Fian felt that he should add more firewood to Yier, so he said to Jianghu, Bro, do you know that you're going to the execution ground? Should I get some clothes? When you get home, eldest uncle will definitely tell you to take off your coat and wear a shirt to cover it. Otherwise, eldest uncle's whip that has been with him for decades is made of real leather. It's very heavy. Even the sound of the whip hitting the air is very shocking, not to mention hitting human flesh. Yier was indeed scared stiff. She was so scared that her heart was in a mess. She leaned against Qin Fian's seat and gripped the edge of the genuine leather seat tightly. Her fingertips made a goo-goo sound as they rubbed against the genuine leather. She took a deep breath and said seriously, Fei Yan, take off your sweater and let Jianghu wear it. Jianghu turned his head and saw Yier leaning against Qin Fian's seat, looking straight at Fei Yan. Her gaze was very penetrating. Nervousness and worry, fear and panic. These things were all because of him, right? Why didn't he notice it before? Yunyi, how good were you at acting in the past? When you looked into my eyes in the past, you were provocative and not serious, stubborn and unwilling to admit defeat. When I asked you, you didn't mean what you said. When I didn't ask you, you didn't mean what you said. But at this moment, that soft spot in his heart seemed to be constantly being rubbed by someone. Rubbing and rubbing out a puddle of water. Yier was completely unaware of Jianghu's attention. She was still anxiously waiting for Qin Fian's reply. Jianghu looked at Yier and said quietly, Yunyi, don't worry about it. The sweater still has to be taken off. My dad is not a fool. How could he let someone get whipped while wearing clothes? Ye looked back at Jiang Zhao's eyes. She saw that his eyes were as calm as the surface of a lake in a painting. There was not a trace of undulation. It was as if what was going to happen next was nothing at all. It was a kind of peace of mind. He was telling her not to worry. So it turned out that one could communicate with their eyes. Why were his eyes so deep and messy in the past? It made her unable to see. She thought that she could persevere because of the reassurance in his eyes. But when she got back to the Qin residence, her legs started to tremble. When she entered the main hall of the Qin residence, the whole family was present. Her mother-in-law was not around. Feiyu was not around. Grandpa had come over from Jiang district. The one who was holding a walking stick next to him should be Grandma. She had seen the photo that Jiang Zhao had given her. Elder brother and sister-in-law were here as well. Qin Fian knew that he was of no use here. He would not be able to persuade them at all. Hence, he simply found an excuse to go to the backyard to take a look. Ye felt a little guilty. Father was not around. Was it because he was unwilling to come? Or did he not know what happened last night? Xuanhuan felt that the atmosphere was too gloomy. She carried Mian and walked to Ye. Ye, are you cold? Shall I put on a cashmere shawl? No need, no need. I'm not cold. It's quite warm in the main hall. There's an air conditioner. Ye took Mian from Xuanhuan and hugged him. Little Mian, did you miss me? Xuanhuan lifted Mian's chin. Baby, call me second aunt. Second aunt. Mian's language development was not bad. Among the babies of the same age, his pronunciation was considered very clear. Ye looked at Mian. Second aunt? Second uncle, second aunt? He sighed softly in his heart. The atmosphere in the main hall was stifling. Everyone in the house was holding their breaths. Jiang Liqing's temper could usually be suppressed by the elders in the family. However, if something like what happened to Jiang Zhao happened, no one would be able to stop him. Jiang Liqing was a soldier and an experienced one at that. Discipline was a very important thing to him. Even though he and Qin Jin had the intention of breaking off their relationship with his ex-girlfriend, after they got married, no matter how upset he felt, he had never slept in his ex-girlfriend's bed. To the Jiang family, this was definitely a disgrace to their family's reputation. As his parents had participated in the revolution, they had traditional values and educated their children using traditional values. Later on, due to the changes in society when it came to Jiang Zhao's generation, there were no longer any rules regarding cohabitation before marriage. However, after marriage there were still restrictions on their behavior. Grandma Bai was a little nervous as she held her walking stick. Liqing, let's talk about this on the table first. You can't just use corporal punishment whenever something happens. Your child is almost at the age of becoming a father. If you can, don't use force to solve it. It was inevitable that they would be closer to their grandson. As his grandparents, how could they not protect him? However, since things had turned out this way, the two elders couldn't really say anything. Especially since Ye was also around, it would not look good if they tried to protect him. If I had used force on him earlier, he wouldn't have done such a thing. Jiang Liqing was still in his military uniform. The dark brown horsewhip in his hand looked quite old. The leather whip had an old glow to it, and the hand holding the handle was tight and strong. Jiang Liqing's voice suppressed everyone's breathing in the main hall. Old Master Jiang and Old Madam Jiang had fought against each other before. Old Master Jiang had always believed that political power came from the barrel of a gun, and filial sons came from the rod of a rod. His two sons were born in this way. Therefore, when his two sons wanted to beat their own sons, he really couldn't say anything unless the children were innocent. When Grandma Bai heard Jiang Liqing's rebuttal, she looked at Ye and swallowed her words. Ye hugged Dianmian tightly. Dianmian was uncomfortable from the tight grip and started crying loudly. Ye snapped out of his daze and quickly hugged Dianmian. Dianmian, don't cry, don't cry. This attracted the attention of everyone in the room. Even Jiang Liqing asked, "What's wrong?" Ye was still feeling guilty, but suddenly his heart skipped a beat. He lifted his head and walked towards Jiang Liqing with Dianmian in his arms. Dad, Dianmian is probably frightened. He pointed at the horsewhip in Jiang Liqing's hand and said to Dianmian, "Little Dianmian, look. Is grandfather's whip nice to look at? Can you stop fooling around?" Dianmian's attention was immediately drawn over. He bent over and tried to snatch Jiang Liqing's whip. Jiang Liqing's expression darkened. You're indulging Jiang Zhao. If you indulge him like this, I won't care if he bullies you in the future. Ye didn't know that Jiang Liqing would be so straightforward at this moment. He saw through her intentions and didn't give her any face. She bit her lip and her eyes turned red. Dad, Jiang Zhao is already so old. Let's not hit him anymore, shall we? Mian Mian only cared about snatching the whip from Jiang Liqing's hand. Xuanhuan was worried that Jiang Liqing would raise his hand and hit her son. When she wanted to carry her son back, she was stopped by Jiang Rui. Xuanhuan was anxious. She had seen this eldest uncle of hers before. He could slap the back of Jiang Feng's neck without giving him any face at all. At this moment, his head was filled with blood. Who knew what he might do? Jiang Rui lowered his head and whispered in Xuanhuan's ear, "Eldest uncle won't hurt Dian Mian." Xuanhuan looked up and glared at Jiang Rui. She lowered her voice and mouthed, "Jiang de Dian Mian is your biological son." Jiang Liqing roared, "Ye heir. Carry Dian Mian to the side. If I hurt Dian Mian, you will become the sinner of the whole family." Ye heir was shocked. Dian Mian was also frightened by Jiang Liqing's loud voice and started to cry. Xuanhuan pushed Jiang Rui away and quickly walked over to Ye heir. "Ye heir, the more you try to persuade him, the harder eldest uncle will hit him." Xuanhuan could understand how Ye heir felt. When Jiang Rui was hit by old Master Jiang, her heart was broken into pieces. The men of the Jiang family were filial. Hence, they didn't dare to complain when they were punished. Ye heir was scared out of her wits and didn't dare to say a word. Old Mistress Jiang turned her face away. Qin Rongfang was so anxious that he wanted to stomp his feet but could only endure it. He wanted to leave but was worried that Jiang Liqing would hit him hard. Everyone in the house heard Jiang Liqing shout, "Take off your coat. Turn around." Jiang Zhao knew that he was going to be whipped today, but he had seen all of Ye heir's little tricks. He didn't say a word, but he thought that he really deserved a beating. They were already in such a state, did she still want him to get hurt? Just like yesterday, she had slapped her and Ouyang Yan's faces, but she didn't slap him at all. The more he thought about it, the faster he took off his coat. He threw the cashmere coat on the floor. Although there was an air conditioner in the main hall, he still felt the cold wind when he was half naked. Jiang Rui supported Xuanhuan. "Xiang, take Dian Mian out. Don't leave him here. You'll scare him." Xuanhuan carried Dian Mian out from Ye heir's arms. Ye heir immediately grabbed Jiang Rui and said in a trembling voice, "Big brother, can't you tell Dad? Can't you not hit him?" Jiang Rui really didn't know what to say. The Jiang family was different from other families. If the elders really wanted to hit him, no matter how arrogant the children and grandchildren were, they would have to kneel. "Ye heir, go out with your sister-in-law. Don't stay here." "Pia?" Ye heir felt as if her eardrums were about to burst. She suddenly turned around and saw that Jiang Zhao was already facing outside the main hall. His back was facing the main seat of the main hall. On his back, which was still sturdy and broad just a moment ago, there was now a long and ghastly wound. Qin Fian said that eldest uncle's whip really wanted to drink human blood. Ye heir covered her mouth. Unknowingly, tears were already on her face. That whip was obviously aimed at her heart. When the whip landed, her heart was bleeding profusely. Welfare Hongcha 866. Chapter 633. Ever since she was born, she had never seen anyone use a horsewhip to whip their own son. Was this really his own son? If he was, how could he bear to do it? Was it because of what happened yesterday? She was clearly the victim yesterday. None of the victims jumped out to hit anyone. How could a father hit someone? The next whip landed with a pia sound. Everyone lowered their heads. Old Madame Yi clutched her chest and didn't dare to look. Jiang Liqing used the tone he used to train soldiers. "You've made me lose all my face. You wolf cub, you're still a public servant. You're still my son. Now, I can't even straighten my back when I walk out. How could you do such a wicked thing? You even caused the Jiang and Qin families to be threatened by the family Ouyang. You're not a thing." Ye heir suddenly understood. Threatened by the family Ouyang? The implications of this matter were so big? Was it because she hit Ouyang Yan? The blood on Jiang Zhao's back felt wet. Ye heir's scalp felt tight and numb. When the whip was about to land again, Ye heir rushed over and grabbed Jiang Liqing's wrist. Jiang Liqing glared at her. Ye heir panicked, but she didn't dare to dodge. She cried and shouted, "Dad!" She held Jiang Liqing's hand tightly. Ye heir knew many rules in the Jiang and Qin families. Jiang Zhao said that all of them had been punished to kneel before. When they were young, they were often punished to kneel because the elders felt that they were very powerful. She slowly knelt down, unable to feel the cold air on the floor because the chill in her heart was already heavy enough. She raised her head, tears blurred her vision as she said earnestly, "Father, I'm sorry. This matter. I didn't expect it to blow up to this extent. I was the one who hit Ouyang Yan. I slapped her a total of 16 times. I'll take responsibility for what I did. Please don't hit Jiang Zhao." Old Madame Yi was shocked. 16 slaps. Oh my God. Was he beaten until he was deaf? When she saw that her granddaughter-in-law had stepped forward to plead for leniency, she quickly stood up and pulled Jiang Liqing back. Liqing, look, even Yi Er has said to let it go. Qin Rongfang had always been protective of his children. Jiang Zhao had basically been in Haiqing for more than 10 years, and they had a deep relationship. When they got married, he could jump out and stop Jiang Liqing from getting physical. He could say, it's just a marriage, so be it. It's not a big deal. But the nature of this matter was different. If Jiang Zhao was willing to divorce and marry family Ouyang, it would be fine. But if he wasn't, it would be a mess. Seeing that Yi Er had stepped forward, Qin Rongfang thought that the time had come. He couldn't hit him anymore. Liqing, it's about time. 2 lashes. You'll have to recuperate for at least half a month. When Jiang Zhao turned around, the frown that had been on his face when he was being hit earlier had disappeared. When he saw Yi Er kneeling on the ground, he couldn't help but laugh. He tugged at Yi Er's sleeve. Yunyi, get up. Someone will help you vent your anger. When you're no longer angry, let's go home, okay? Yi Er's heart ached. This wasn't the right way to vent his anger. He let go of Jiang Zhao with one hand, but he didn't dare to let go of Jiang Liqing's hand with the other. He pushed Jiang Zhao away and said, it's none of your business. All right, I won't bother with you. Get up. Don't kneel. It's winter. Or you can go home first. Don't stay here and watch. Just think that I deserve to be hit. You can't do it, so your father-in-law will do it for you. That way you'll feel better. Jiang Liqing added, Yi Er, get up. I'll seek justice for you. In Jiang Liqing's eyes, regardless of whether he sought justice for his daughter-in-law, Jiang Zhao's son still had to be taught a lesson. Now that this matter had escalated to this point, the elders on both sides were alarmed. His mother had refused to take a plane for many years and had risked her life to come to Haiqing. This wolf cub was unfilial. It would have been better if Yi Er hadn't heard what Jiang Liqing said. After he heard what Jiang Liqing said, he immediately plucked up his courage and snatched the whip from Jiang Liqing's hand. He quickly stood up and turned around. Jiang Liqing was stunned. Yi Er had already rushed up to Jiang Zhao and raised the whip. He raised his hand to wipe away the tears on his face and sniffed hard. You owe me. I'll do it myself. I'll hit you myself to vent my anger. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er, nodded, and turned around again. The whip was in Yi Er's hand, and what she had thrown at Jiang Zhao was only a slap. When her slap landed, she was afraid that she would hit the wound on his back, so she pushed his shoulder to face him and slapped his chest. She sobbed and scolded at the top of her voice. Wu, Jiang Zhao. You bastard. Your conscience has been eaten by the Ouyang Yen. You're so despicable. Oh, I'll just beat you to death, you bastard. Yi Er's hair was messy and she was wearing very little. Everyone in the room watched her throw a tantrum, but no one went to stop her. Who couldn't see that she was slapping him again and again? Her palms were empty. There were only sounds, but she didn't use any strength. She used more strength when she cried than when she hit him. Old Madam's heart ached. She tugged at Old Master Jiang's hand. Old man, you've really sinned. Old Master Jiang sighed. Sin. Yi Er suddenly hugged Jiang Zhao's neck. She clenched her fists and hit his shoulders. She cried and shouted angrily, Have you been beaten, silly? I've hit you so hard. Don't you feel pain? She leaned into his ear and whispered in a sobbing voice, If you don't feel pain, Dad will still hit you. Are you transformed from a pig? Jiang Zhao's heart ached. He slowly reached out and hugged Yi Er. His palm wrapped around the back of her head and pressed against his shoulders tightly. He closed his eyes and the corners of his mouth opened. He breathed out shakily and choked out, Yunyi. Yunyi, don't worry about it. Jiang Zhao tried to make his voice softer. In fact, it was worth it to be whipped a few more times. It would be best if he couldn't get out of bed. Then she wouldn't have the heart to argue with him. Yi Er let go of Jiang Zhao. She turned around and looked at Jiang Liqing weakly. Dad, look, I've hit you. Please don't hit me, okay? Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er's wrist. Yunyi, it's okay. Yi Er glared at Jiang Zhao. He walked to Jiang Liqing's side and teased his son with a smile. Mian Mian, tell Grandpa not to be angry, okay? Mian Mian, tell Grandpa that everything goes well. Mian Mian reached out his chubby hand to grab Jiang Liqing's epaulette. The epaulette that represented the military rank had a silent dignity. Mian Mian leaned over and kissed Jiang Liqing's face. Then he said, Grandpa, everything goes well. Mian Mian wants this. The whole family laughed. Haha, you little brat. You're not even 2 years old yet you want either a whip or an epaulette. Come, let Grandpa kiss you. Then he kissed Mian Mian's soft little face. Yi saw this and quickly picked up the coat on the ground and put it on Jiang Zhao. Jiang Rui threw Mian into Jiang Liqing's arms so that he wouldn't be free. He also instigated Mian. Mian, Grandpa has a gun. Kiss Grandpa a few more times and let him bring you to play with guns. Jiang Rui made a shooting gesture for Mian to see and added, Pia. Pia. He tempted Mian. A boy's toys were always guns or cars. Mian was no exception. When she heard Jiang Rui say that Jiang Liqing had a gun, she reached out and hugged Jiang Liqing's neck excitedly. I love Grandpa, I love Grandpa. Grandpa is the most handsome. Then she laughed and snuggled into Jiang Liqing's neck. Everyone in the Jiang family said that Mian was a little devil, but they all liked this little devil very much. Although he was mischievous, he spoke early and knew how to flatter. Xuanhuan and Jiang Rui had a good relationship. The child was also influenced by his parents and did not cry easily. Xuanhuan often taught Mian to please old Master Jiang and old Madam Jiang. At this time, the little devil used this method on Jiang Liqing and it was very effective. Once Jiang Liqing was entangled with Mian, Qin Rongfang, old Master Jiang, and old Madam Jiang quickly went over to surround them. Old Madam Jiang was fanning at the side. Mian, Grandpa is going to die from your flattery. Ah. Xuanhuan walked to Jiang Rui's side and touched Mian's neck. Baby, Grandpa's shooting skills are very accurate. He looks so handsome when he shoots. He's a sharpshooter. Can our baby learn how to shoot from Grandpa in the future? Jiang Liqing couldn't stand it when he heard someone flattering him. Mian hugged Jiang Liqing excitedly and refused to let go. Ah, I love Grandpa. Grandpa is handsome. Let's shoot. Yi. Yi dragged Jiang Zhao away. Jiang Zhao didn't want to and couldn't. Yi gently tugged at old Madam Jiang's sleeve. Grandma, can you tell Dad that we're leaving first? Old Madam Jiang couldn't wait for Jiang Zhao to leave quickly. She turned her head. Liqing, Mian was still making a fuss on the plane from Jiang district. Now that he's not making a fuss anymore, he likes you a lot. Can you help him play with you? Jiang Liqing wasn't a fool. How could he not see that his family was getting along well? After all, he was old now. He wasn't as hot-blooded as he used to be when he was young. He had used all his strength to whip Mian twice and saw blood. Just like what his father-in-law said, Mian had been recuperating for half a month. In fact, his heart ached for her too. Hence, he carried Mian and walked out of the hall. When he passed by Jiang Zhao, he said, Go back and reflect on yourself. Old Madam Jiang pushed Jiang Zhao and said with a sullen face, Why aren't you going back with your wife? We won't let you stay for dinner today. Old Madam Jiang wasn't sure if Jiang Liqing would throw a tantrum again after a while, so she felt more at ease sending him away. Yi forgot to exchange pleasantries with the whole family and hurriedly pulled Jiang Zhao away. Qin Fian sat on the swing in the side courtyard. It wasn't that he didn't hear the commotion in the main hall. It was so loud that it was hard not to hear it. He thought to himself that the 2 whippings he took today were worth it. He raised his wrist and looked at the time. The surface of the watch was clean and bright, and the diamond inside shone brightly under the sunlight. He tapped the surface of the watch with his other hand and chuckled. Fake watch, what a beautiful fake watch. Jiang Zhao thought that the matter was over. Since Yi had jumped out to help him, he thought that since he had already lost his face, why should he care? It turned out that there was no difference between losing face once and losing it 10 times. Hence, he sat in the front passenger seat and pulled Yi's hand. Honey, I'm hungry. The tears on Yi's face had dried, and his face was as cold as it was in the morning. He swung his arm and slapped Jiang Zhao's hand away. Stay away from me. I told you this morning not to touch me. Jiang Zhao retracted his hand. He couldn't even pretend to be cool when he was in the wrong. But you touched me first. I'm not going to talk nonsense with you. I'm sending you back now. What about you? I'm going out to look for a house. Jiang Zhao knew. Yi groaned in her heart. You don't have to move. I'll move. Don't let Dad find out. Just say that I'm on a business trip. You saw for yourself that Dad wasn't around today. This means that the Jiang and Qin families didn't tell Dad about this. You don't want him to worry, right? After all, in his eyes, we are still very loving. He has a weak heart, right? Yi drove the car. She thought that this was good too. She didn't want to agitate Dad. Beauty novel Songshu 566. Chapter 634. He could have stayed silent, but Jiang Zhao asked shamelessly, Yunyi, why did you help me just now? Yi answered against her will, I don't think violence can solve problems. Alright, let's not talk about it anymore. Jiang Zhao said dejectedly, If you don't want to tell me, I won't ask. Help me apply medicine on my back when we get back. Yi Er held the steering wheel and rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao. Don't you know there's a mirror at home? Do it yourself. Jiang Zhao straightened his back and almost hissed in pain. He couldn't pretend to be calm anymore. He wanted to say that he could move out, but his back was injured and it would be convenient for her to help him apply medicine if he stayed at home to recuperate for 2 days. 2 days was 2 days, but she was so ruthless. How do I apply medicine on your back? I can't turn my hand. There are beauty salons and massage parlors in the neighborhood. Take your medicine and give them some money to apply it for you. Yi Er snorted coldly after she said that. In this world, everything will turn if you leave someone. I don't believe that you can let your back rot without me applying medicine for you. If you really can't do it, there are so many servants in the Qin family. You can go back to the Qin family every day to eat with them. Yunyi. A day as husband and wife means endless devotion for the rest of your life. That's how you are. Jiang Zhao couldn't care less and started to take advantage of her. Yes, it was broken when you did that stupid thing yesterday. What's there to be grateful for? Yi Er's temper was like that of a hooligan. She was already a broken jar in front of Jiang Zhao, so she wasn't afraid of falling. But you helped me just now. Jiang Zhao was so anxious that his neck turned stiff. I was impulsive. Now that I think about it, why did I do that? You're going to be someone else's husband in the future. I'm protecting you so well, so I'm protecting her. I'll stop the car and you can take a taxi back to get whipped. Yi Er said heartlessly and really stepped on the brakes. Get out of the car. Why should I get out of the car? Go back and get whipped. Out of sight, out of mind. Yunyi, you're such a dishonest woman. Jiang Zhao gnashed his teeth. Yi Er sneered, you can't wait for me to die. If I die, you'll write widowed in your book. Then you can openly marry that living woman, right? Hurry up and go. Hurry up and live together. I can't be bothered to look. Jiang Zhao reclined his chair and glared at Yi Er before falling down. There was a wound on his back and it hurt so much that his flesh twitched. He was too embarrassed to scream, so he immediately turned his back to Yi Er and ignored her. Yi Er thought to herself that he had finally stopped. She really didn't want to talk nonsense with him. Her heart ached when she saw him injured, but when she saw him alive and kicking, she felt annoyed. She was just asking for it. Yi Er and Jiang Zhao returned to Ninth Mansion. When the elevator door opened and they walked out, they saw Xuanhuan standing at the door with a worried expression. Yi Er panicked. Oh no, she had seen the marks on her face in the morning. They were no longer swollen, but there were still some marks. Xuanhuan walked over quickly, but he didn't seem to care about them at all. The moment he arrived, he reprimanded them. If you two want to eat supper, then eat supper. Why did you fight with a hooligan? Yunyi, you're not young anymore. You should be clear about your status. Don't be like how you were in the past, stirring up trouble for no reason. You went out to eat supper in the middle of the night and even provoked little hooligans. You want Jiang Zhao to clean up your mess. Yi Er was stunned by the scolding. What? Fight with little hooligans? Jiang Zhao didn't dare to make a sound. He was afraid that he would say something wrong. Xuanhuan looked at Yi Er's bruises on her face and her speechless expression. He was angry again. He glared at Yi Er and continued scolding her. If Fian hadn't come over to take Jiang Zhao's things, I wouldn't have known. You're not allowed to go out to eat supper in the future. Jiang Zhao is in politics. Damn it, how could he go to the police station? Don't you know your father-in-law's temper? If he's unhappy, he'll beat you up again. Xuanhuan wasn't worried about Jiang Zhao and Yi Er because it wasn't their first day away from home. Young people like to be romantic and he didn't object, so he didn't care. He didn't expect to be frightened by Qin Fian. Qin Fian came over early in the morning with Jiang Liqing before the sun rose. Jiang Liqing was afraid that he would expose the matter as soon as he went upstairs. He couldn't control his temper, so he asked Qin Fian to go upstairs and check if Jiang Zhao and Yi Er didn't bring their phones. Qin Fian knew that he couldn't say too much, so he stammered to see Xuanhuan's reaction. Xuanhuan didn't think too much about it. He led Qin Fian into the house and said politely, Fian, Jiang Zhao and Yi Er went out to eat supper last night and haven't come back yet. They're probably staying outside. If you want to find Jiang Zhao, I'm afraid you'll have to wait for a while. Qin Fian's mind was working very fast at this moment. He thought about how Yi Er had beaten him last night and continued stammering. Hey Uncle Yun. What's wrong? Didn't my brother go out to eat supper with sister-in-law last night? Qin Fian glanced at Xuanhuan. He looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. He was actually waiting for Xuanhuan to reveal more information. Xuanhuan knew that Qin Fian and Jiang Zhao had a good relationship and treated everyone well. Moreover, Qin Fian looked like he wanted to say something but didn't dare to. Hongwei was worried sick. He thought that something big must have happened, so he asked anxiously, "Did something happen?" Last night, Yi wanted to eat supper, but Jiang Zhao said it was too late. She got angry and ran away. Jiang Zhao only put on a coat and chased after her. He said he would take her out to eat and hasn't come back yet. Uncle Yun. Qin Fian pulled Yun Hongwei into the living room. "I'm going upstairs to my brother's room to get something. Something happened to him." Yun Hongwei asked anxiously. Qin Fian sighed. "Didn't he take sister-in-law out for supper last night? Who knew that both of them would go to a roadside stall to eat? In the end, they met a few drunk hooligans who were flirting with my sister-in-law. How can my brother tolerate it? He got into a fight with them and he is still in the police station. Last night there were a few new policemen on duty. They refused to believe that my brother is the deputy mayor and refused to let her go." "What?" Yun Hongwei was so angry that he was speechless. "This is outrageous. But Jiang Zhao was dressed like that yesterday. No one will believe him. Who would wear a coat during the winter? No one will believe that he would eat at a roadside stall." Qin Fian patted Yun Hongwei's back and started to threaten him. "Uncle Yun, don't be anxious. You must not make a fuss about this. My eldest uncle is still angry and wants to get Yi out. Although it is easy for him to get Yi out, he still wants to save his face. If you throw a tantrum again, my eldest uncle will surely beat my brother up. You must bear with it. My brother is also trying to protect sister-in-law. That's why he got into a fight with those hooligans. Am I right?" Yun Hongwei listened to Qin Fian's analysis. How can he lose his temper? "I'm going to deliver some clothes to Jiang Zhao. Last night I saw that he was only wearing a coat and nothing underneath." "Don't." Qin Fian put his arm around Yun Hongwei's shoulder, pushed up his glasses and pushed him to sit on the sofa. "Uncle Yun, you don't know my uncle-in-law's temper. Even if you are his in-laws, he still wants to save face. Now that he's in the police station looking for someone, if you go, he will definitely feel that he has lost all his face. He will definitely vent his anger on my brother. He will definitely say that my brother made him unable to straighten his back. He will feel that he has never bent his back in his life, you know? Don't take the clothes. My uncle-in-law will definitely throw them away when he sees them. He will definitely say, 'Forget about the coldness of this wolf cub. Let's end this once and for all.'" Qin Fian went upstairs alone and entered Jiang Zhao's bedroom. He called both of their mobile phones and they were still in their pockets. After confirming that they did not bring their mobile phones with them, he went downstairs. As long as they did not deliberately ignore their family's calls, it meant that they were not so weak that they could not be dealt with. Yun Hongwei was basically frightened by Qin Fian. Until Qin Fian left, he was anxious and did not dare to go to the police station to take a look. Only after he left did he realize that he did not even ask which police station Qin Fian was locked up in. Jiang Zhao listened to Yun Hongwei's words. Little hooligan? Locked up in the police station? Good lord, Fian was really his biological brother. Now the wound on Yi-er's face had a source. He hugged Yi-er's shoulder. "Dad, it won't happen again." Yi-er was very cooperative and stuck to Jiang Zhao's embrace without moving. Jiang Zhao smiled. Yun Hongwei stood in the same place. "Go in," he said coldly. Jiang Zhao looked at Yun Hongwei's expression as he glared at Yi-er. There seemed to be a kind of anger in his expression. If it was any other time he would have to explain and protect his wife. But now that he was at a low point, Yi-er also had the intention to help him cover it up. And the purpose of covering it up was clear to him. Yun Hongwei wanted Yi-er to be happy, and Yi-er was also afraid that Yun Hongwei would be worried. It was not that he was heartless or unjust, but at this time he also had no other choice. Yi-er now had the intention to fight to the death with him. He had to think of a way not to move. He walked to the shoe cabinet and changed his shoes. He bent down and frowned painfully. A hard-to-suppress groan came out of his mouth. On the way back, Yi-er had told himself that he had to be more ruthless with him. After all, he had already been whipped and no one would continue to hit him. Leaving the wound would be good as a lesson for him. So when Jiang Zhao cried out in pain, Yi-er pretended not to see. He changed his shoes and went upstairs. Jiang Zhao knew that Yi-er would ignore him, so he was not surprised. But Yun Hongwei played right into his hands. He came over and asked, "Jiang Zhao, what's wrong?" Jiang Zhao said a little embarrassedly, "Dad, it's nothing." After saying that, he straightened his back unnaturally. He purposely tried to separate his back from the material of his clothes. The large lapel in front of his chest exposed his chest. This looked really undignified and very comical. Yun Hongwei had always known that Jiang Zhao was a person who placed a lot of emphasis on appearance. The things in the house were placed very neatly and were very clearly categorized. There were some small drawers under the big tea machine in front of the sofa. What things were placed in each drawer was carefully categorized. The remote control was all placed together and could not be thrown around randomly. Although his clothes were not fashionable, he had always been meticulous. Today's messy and undignified appearance made Xuanhuan a little worried. Is your back hurt? In Xuanhuan's eyes, Jianghu stooped and stood up with his back leaning back because he was afraid of touching his back. The wrinkles on his eyebrows couldn't be for no reason. Was it the little hooligan that Qin mentioned? Or was it his in-law's whip? No. How could there be such a thing? Jianghu deliberately made it look like he was panicking because he had been guessed correctly. Then he shuffled his slippers as if he was trying to escape quickly. Xuanhuan was an elder. Jianghu called him dad, and also cared for Yi very much. Xuanhuan saw it all. His son-in-law was good to his daughter, so what more could he ask for? He was definitely satisfied with Jianghu. At this moment he was dodging because he was afraid that he would worry. Jianghu, take off your jacket. Xuanhuan was unwilling to let Jianghu go. Dad, why do I have to take off my jacket? So cold. The temperature in the house is constant. There's also floor heating. How can it be cold? Come and see. Xianhu 799.